That's what I usually say. But it looks like we're gonna get into it.
We certainly are, and it's going to be Iceman on the left of your screen and Blobman on the right. And it's going to be Lollipop versus Min Min from the get-go, and we already see 2 explosive arms on either side. We're going to see the nuke. Oh gosh, we're going to have the nade and the missiles coming out for Iceman.
This is the Nuka-Lola setup, if I'm not mistaken, right? The replicant tried and true from before. But this is the first time I'm seeing Blobman, and you know, with the name Blorb actually using it, which is a super unusual arm to see in competitive arms. But I would love for someone to just become good with that arm and show people what's what with it.
It's certainly one of the more interesting arms that it bounces away, and it also leaves that smoke screen as well, and actually gets a really good pick with it as well. Gets the grab. I don't think Iceman, well, of course Iceman didn't see it coming, they were completely blinded. But the missiles are going to keep them at bay, but it does give Min Min a chance to get the Sparky up, which is always a nice tool to utilize, and goes in for the rush and actually catches Iceman. I wasn't expecting that. I thought they got the shield up in time.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate the Blorb just about missed that. That could have easily been above 300 health damage there, but it goes to 145 and now back going to another... Oh, but it's not going to fully connect either. This is going really back and forth, and this could be anyone's game. This was way closer than I would expect, but now we have Blobman on the magic pixel right now. I think just anything would kill him about this point.
Yeah, anything will do damage. Even that explosion AoE, which some people do sometimes get a little bit further away from, but not on this occasion. Just the missile directly into the face. Min Min goes down. Iceman finally gets a point on the board. That was a lot closer than I thought, but then again, Iceman having to adapt to Blob style. They probably haven't fought them that many times.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing Iceman on this setup as well, so I would be... You know, not surprised if this was like the 3rd or 4th character he's using these days, but you know, besides that, adapting to someone with a unique arm is actually way more difficult on a higher level than people would expect, and someone just switching to Blorb is hard. But now we see Iceman actually just adapting kind of cleanly here on a discount perfect and just putting pressure on this corner for Blobman, and it's looking very tough right now.
Yeah, very tough indeed. Just the longer you get pinned into those sort of corners, the more damage your opponent can just rack up. And obviously Lola with that wonderful ability where they could just inflate up with the shield and just waddle along, which pretty much nobody else in the game is able to do. Just keeps that pressure going forward. And another nade coming around, but Blob does get the spark, and slowly but surely they're trying to fight their way back into this, but they've still got a ways to go, and the explosion is gonna deny the rush.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate, and now Blobman doesn't have the Dragon Arm either. It's a very tough, it's kind of snowballs from Min Min when you don't have the Dragon Arm activated, and now Iceman tries to get on pressure, but the Blorb reads through that and actually grabs. That was very risky, but I like the effort. And now I think this is getting down to the wire again, and what a cancel on that rush.
How about the bravery to go for the Sparky hit on that was amazing, and with 7 seconds to go, Blob's gonna take the lead with this. Blob takes the lead with 5 seconds left on the clock. They just need to not take damage. They did take damage by the AoE, and Lola takes it by the skin of their teeth. My word, how close do you want that to be?
And this is round 1. What the hell? This was okay. I was not expected to be this hype 5 minutes into starting the cast. That was insane. I think there was a lot of things happening there. I think in the second round, Iceman gave a bit too much of a respect for Blobman to be able to get the Dragon Arm up again, because when he did put the pressure on in the second round and put them into the corner there, it looked like game right there and then. But then Iceman, you know, went back a bit and gave them the time to actually get the composure and get the Dragon Arm up again. And I don't recommend doing that against Min Min. We're going back into it, and it's DNA Lab now.
Yeah, we're going to go into a much bigger, much open stage. And obviously a little bit more obstacles as well. We obviously had 4 pillars on Temple Grounds. Now we've got 6. And we're going to see a Scorpion coming out for Iceman alongside that Popper. Blob, well, going to live to their name. Stick with that Blob and Sparky combination, which to be fair, worked better than I thought it would, especially in the second match.
Yeah, this I just have to say this color scheme of Iceman with the arms is almost hurting my eyes with this green background as well. It's like almost camouflage from this DNA lab. I think this is one of these things that exemplifies European arms compared to an NA. It's just that we have these like silly setups where people are creating almost characters with their arms and color palettes. But I love it. I love it.
To be fair, I kind of do that as well. So it's definitely it's definitely not an uncommon thing to see. Iceman has a lot more a lot more at their arsenal here. The Pop obviously one of the lighter arms in the game, but obviously incredibly quick. And the Scorpio has 2 modes of attacks. It just turns to that frisbee in the air. And is that a perfect from Iceman? No, not quite. Got a little bit of damage, but there we go. Pretty much a near perfect for Iceman.
Yeah, and this is something I would kind of explain it as like if you have 2 players with kind of a unique arms, in this case it would be the Scorpion and the Blorb. I would expect that the player with the higher knowledge of fundamentals in the game is just gonna take it outright, and I don't think. Oh! Okay, sorry. I think my heart jumped up in my throat there. That looked like it could have been the most insane Tri-Blast confirmed there onto the wall, but just about didn't get it. It was maybe a frame behind.
I mean, credit for Blob for trying to go for that. Just you were hoping it was going to happen, but another successful Blob hit takes Iceman down, and despite having a near perfect run in that first match, Blob seems to have adapted nicely. The Tri-Blast definitely working out for them a lot better than the Sparky, and Iceman actually having a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Okay, now we see the rush coming out again for Blorb. Really good that stopping themselves from not getting hit there and adapting the kind of the camera angle. Still has a way to go now because Iceman is on a rush, and this is probably going to be the deciding factor in this round alone. Oh, have to be so careful when you land. There's so much landing lag, and he jumps over it, but it's not going to be enough there. Wow, this is interesting because I came into this tournament and was expecting I'm gonna see the good, the tried and true from Iceman, either the explosive Ribbon Girl or the Ice Min, but no, it was just the 2 new Lola Pops that I haven't seen from Iceman at all. This is awesome.
And with that, Iceman is going to take that set by 2 points to 0. So we are going to see Iceman moving on. Do remember, my friends, that this is a double elimination tournament, so Blobman is not out just yet. They've got the underground bracket to run through, but we've seen the runs happen down there. We've seen some people go all the way up to the grand finals from round 2 at the very least, so it can still be done. It can still be done. But for Iceman, they will move forward. They will face the winner of Junior or Nye, and obviously. It's amusing the fact that we mentioned Junior. Junior hasn't won this cup since the 46th entry, and yet Junior won the PR Invitational. So, it's
yeah, that's just Junior being great with the fundamentals, and I was gonna mention that too. It's been awesome to see Junior coming back into the European arms scene after a bit of a break and just starting to stream it. If you haven't, you should check out Junior's stream on Twitch as well. But coming in back into the tournaments and just kind of showing people what's what with that scary Guardian combo on Kid Cobra. But what I wanted to say about Blorb is here as well is that I mean I see Blorb has the 12th seed, but I wouldn't. I mean, with this kind of unique setup they had, I don't think I've seen a Blorb on a Min. It could be one of those X Factor things where if you're not prepared for that, then you could easily drop from Blorb, man. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of make a loser's run out of this, even though they have a lower seed than Iceman, who had a...
we had a situation like this similar a few tournaments back where a newcomer to the entire series called Alistair came in and stunned everyone by making it into top 3 on their first go-round. It was just like, what? Where did this person come from? So it's like, it's almost the same thing where Blobs came in with a completely different loadout, and yes, they lost 2-0, but they nearly took points from Iceman on 2 different occasions there, because Iceman had to adapt to the fact that suddenly it's like, there's a blob coming at me. Why is there a blob? It's just...
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of kind of strange things happening there too, because of the bounciness of the Blorb and the bounciness of Lola Pop. It looked so weird in that last round because Iceman was a bit more grounded in the second game and didn't use the kind of the super dash and stuff like that. But when you had both of those parts bouncing around, it was just like I wouldn't even know who was gonna get hit for the like the next one. But so very well played from both of them there. And I wasn't sure who are we gonna look at next here for the next round.
We do not have confirmation just yet. I think everybody is still in the early part of their matches. Another quick reminder that these are all best of threes up until the winners final, underground final, and grand finals respectively. All three of those will be best of fives. There is going to be the potential of a reset later down the line, but that's much later down the line. Most of our round 1 matches are still going. We have had a result from Alimento versus Yoshi. Yoshi has been knocked into the underground bracket. Alimento beating them 2-0. So we know we do have one match ready to go in round 2, and that is Grimwood versus Alimento. So that will be an interesting match. Alimento has actually been improving a lot recently, and it feels like they're on the verge of knocking on to a top 3 finish of their own. It's just every now and then it's just like tiny little mistakes just slip away from but they've been doing really well lately.
Yeah, I think when I've been seeing, and also when I've been facing Alimento, I feel like in tournaments that Alimento is one of those players that they have their good and their bad days, and when they are in their good days, then for sure it looks like they could be top 3 in EU, and it's all about that. Like, it looks like they had a clean 2-0 versus Yoshi Bowser, but we don't know if that was on a good day Alimento or on a bad day Alimento, and that's gonna really factor in if you play against someone like Grimwood, who is, I think Grimwood is one of the most dedicated players in Europe right now, for sure, for the last maybe 2 or 3 seasons of just like actually putting the time into like study the matchups and like picking up new characters to prepare for specific matchups. It's a very high level kind of thing that I think a lot of top players in both EU and NA for ARMS, they get complacent and just like, you know, they do their own thing. But I really feel like Grimwood is like one of those people who are like trying to figure out the game on a deeper level. So you really have to be on your good day when you go up against Grimwood.
And I'm going to hope that Alimento is definitely on a good day. I think they share that kind of trait with Kosalina as well, where she has some massive good and bad day seesaws. But yeah, as you were saying with Grimwood, that consistency from Grimwood, as of late especially, has been really key. They were last in the final, on the last final actually, the last cup of Askin. Just losing out to Replicant, who is obviously in this tournament as well today. But, 4 wins under their bag. They are certainly looking for another one. And to be fair, it's going to be a good matchup between them and Alimento. We do have confirmation. We have another round 2 ready to go as well. Kosalina has beaten Alphon 2-0. So she will go up against Riffa. And that's always an interesting match to watch. But we're just waiting on confirmation to see which ones we're going to be doing.
Yeah, and Kosalina is also one of the players that I've been keeping my eye on lately in the last season or so. She has been doing like, I think she and Grimwood has really been the players that have stood out the most to me of being the ones that are like, I guess, gunning for that top spot in Europe. I feel prior to Grimwood and Kosalina, we had players coming into the European scene and they had this raw talent like Jetta or people similar to him, and they just kind of rose to the top. And maybe they did grind a lot, but I feel like Grimwood and Kosalina are 2 of the players that have been like putting in some serious work ethic to actually get there and like trying to sign up at every point they have. Unlike people who, I mean, they've also grinded a fair share, but like Riffa and Jetta, who have this like almost like an inherent talent for the game where they've just figured it out pretty much, it feels like. All right, it looks like we have our next game potentially here. Yeah,
and it is going to be Riffa versus Kosalina by the looks of it. I think there was like 2 different channels trying to organize different things on stream, but it looks like the call from Okrim is going to go the way of Riffa Kosalina, so we are going to see these 2 duke it out. Kosalina has only made it to the finals on 1 occasion and had to be the 1 cup that I couldn't commentate on because curses. Riffa, obviously, Mr. Revolution himself, 12 wins, 13 seconds. I think at this point Riffa's done it all.
Yeah, I think Riffa has been dominant in Europe for such a long time, and I think for me, it's been the saddest. The saddest part has been that Rifa kind of never really had the chance to show his skills offline. I would have loved to see Rifa taking on players in Japan and in America, because I think that would have been telling where Europe is in the terms of like region leaderboard, right? If Rifa would have like dominated Japan and Europe, I would feel so good about Europe. But now we don't know. We know he's good here though, and we're gonna go into the first game, which looks to be a Misango versus a Min Min here.
Yeah, good to see Misango coming back out for Rifa. I'll be on the left-hand side of your screen. Min Min once again showing her wonderful noodly face. And we're going to see the Chakram and the Tri-Blast for Min Min. Meanwhile, Rifa's going to come out with the Chiller and the Phoenix. So some good old fire and ice. And Kozolina thought about going for the Dragon Arm and quickly realised, nope, this is Rifa we're talking about. He's immediately going to be onto that.
Yeah, he's not going to let you get that in the beginning there. So much respect to Rifa for actually trying to make Misango a thing and make it happen. I mean, if anyone is going to do it, it is Rifa. I tried to get the Misango working, but I gave up after a couple of months. But I really respect Rifa going for it. And he is having some issues here, being stuck on this slope and having arm pressure damage. Kozolina is just looking unstoppable right now.
Yeah, Kozolina definitely one of her good days. Finally gets pinged by the Chiller. Not going to fall for the grab on this occasion from Rifa, and the Tri-Blast will finally snake their way through. And first point goes to Kozolina. That was incredibly dominant from her.
Insane pressure. I mean, the Tri-Blast on the Dragon Arm is... I mean, it's a good combination, I would say. It's a pretty fair, good combination to have it there. I think Misango is one of the characters that are like... I wouldn't say slow, but he's like kind of... not the most agile one, but Rifa proving me wrong just as I say that, just jumping around and a rush and getting 330 damage. This could be something to put him back on the board, and now he has put on the blue mask as well, which will make him a bit more agile, but let's just say it again.
Yeah, just like with Min Min's Dragon Arm ability, where if she goes down, she's going to lose it. The same will be said of Rifa. Any mask that comes on, if they go down, they will lose it. And still on the aggressive side of things, and actually gets the chill up and the red mask on as well. Nice. And Kozolina already in to critical, not giving up though, gets a good time grab, sends Rifa right back down onto the side.
Yeah, this is very much like a snowball kind of situation for both of these characters when they lose either their mask or the Dragon Arm. And now Rifa standing tall here on the slope in the hot pocket. He puts on the pressure and gets gets one round now against Kozolina. But in general, I feel like this is a very kind of momentum-based matchup, right? When Rifa really wants a mask, and if he doesn't get the right mask, he has to wait so long for it to rotate around so he can put the mask on and be in a safe situation to actually do that, while as Kozolina only has the Dragon Arm to kind of worry about, you know, on or off kind of thing. But now they both have rush, and he just stole her out of the air. What the hell?
Yeah, that was just a straight up no you moment. And however, they are going to lose the better of the rush exchange. Kozolina gets much better traction on it, gets to the side, and the what? Well, it is one of the heavier arms in the game, but it's also one of the slower arms, and Kozolina took full advantage of that. Not going to get the grab on this occasion. We know Kozolina is a very grab happy girl.
Yeah, and I mean, Rifa did have the red mask on, so I do think he had the kind of, the super armor there to negate most of the damage. So he just like, he took that rush like a champ, and then just kind of, I don't know, slowly went back up against Kozolina and punched him out of this game. That was interesting. I don't know. I feel like I really would like to understand Rifa more of his thought process of why he uses the different masks. I've seen a few Misangos playing in Japan, and they have like a super apparent way of using the masks for certain situations. But with Rifa, I can't read him. Like, I can't understand what he's aiming for, and that's one of the cool things about this Misango. We have a change now, though, with Kozolina on Lollapop.
Yep, coming in with the Tri-Blast once again, and this time it's going to be the Ice Dragon, already falling foul to the Chiller of Rifa, who's going to stick with the Megawatt on this occasion as we head into Mausoleum, a lot more closed in. Nowhere to really hide on this. I mean, you've got the trampoline that can come out, but I feel like neither player really wants to see that. I mean, Lola probably will get the benefit of it more, but so far Rifa's just keeping Kozolina at bay.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really tough challenge for Rifa if he does get a health disadvantage, because Kosalina has that setup that really works for a defensive playstyle, especially if the trampoline gets opened up in the middle. But right now, Rifa is just kind of reading Kosalina like a book, going with the yellow mask rush, so has the invulnerability. And I think Kosalina just kind of gave up there in that round, realizing that it would be a very tough challenge to get back from that one.
Yeah, it's going to be just a straight up reset, but it also now knows that if Riffa gets another point, it's going to be another 2-0. Megawatt coming straight back out, but because they're not going to get caught out by it on this occasion. The Triplus does at least help to buffer some of Riffa's movements a little bit, but she's got to rely on this Ice Dragon. It obviously excels at the range, but every single time the Chiller comes out, it's either a grab or a Megawatt coming straight at you, and so far, Kosalina has not been able to get a proper read on it in this match.
Yeah, and it's starting to look more and more like desperation here for Kosalina, but it's almost like they're fighting their own mind at this point, and Rifa is just kind of utilizing that to their advantage and just going right in. This is going to be so tough. It looks almost impossible for Kosalina, but if someone can do it, it would be Kosalina. And they do have a rush close by, and they really need to hit this rush to make it happen.
Oh, no, the Tri-Blast unfortunately grazed Riffa, and the rest of the gave Riffa enough time to get out of the way, and the Megawatt immediately chases in for a quick 2-0 victory. And well, Riffa proving why he's won so many times beforehand, moving in to winners semi-final. Kosalina will have to drop into the underground bracket.
Yeah, this was interesting. I don't think I've actually watched a lot of games going on between Kosalina and Riffa, but if I would think an extra time about it, I would probably say that Kosalina is one of the more explosive players, especially on her Twin Tail. I've had so many issues against her Twin Tail because she's just up in your face with that Thunderbird, which is my favorite arm, but it just turns it against me. But and I think in contrast, Riffa is one of the players who are just like kind of the stoic, has a game plan, which really felt like it on the Mummy stage, just kind of keeping at bay, keeping this constant pressure, not too close, not too far away. And I think that kind of play style really works against Kosalina, because that explosiveness, Kosalina doesn't really get to use that, and that kind of deflates the entire thing, and you see her kind of giving up in that second to last round there in the last game. And it's unfortunate because I think that I feel like Riffa is almost like a puzzle that you need to figure out. If you want to be the top in EU ARMS, you need to figure out the puzzle that is Riffa's kind of game plans. If you can do that, then you're in a good way. But if you can't, then it's going to be a very frustrating route to get to the top.
It certainly is. And with that being said, we are going to see some more advancements happening. Round 1 has been fully finished now. Ironically enough, the two matches we didn't spot, Akrim Hajimaru, that went to 2-1 in Akrim's favour, and Junior the same with Nai, going 2-1 with them as well. So the other round 2 matches which are currently playing out are Replicant versus Akrim, Junior versus Iceman, and Grimwood versus Elementor has just finished, and it is Grimwood besting Elementor on this occasion 2-0. So we already have our first semi-final ready for you.
Yeah, that's I mean, we didn't get to see if it was a good day Elementor or a bad day Elementor, but either way, when you go up against Grimwood, it's going to be a tough time, like however you spin that. Now, I think in this kind of the games that we have now in the winners, I could see it going either way for Junior or Iceman. I mean, usually Replicant has the higher seed, has the number 1 seed actually, versus Okrim has been one of the, I guess, more consistent players, but unfortunately has not been able to, at least to my knowledge, take any of the challenges. But you know, with the high level of caliber of players that we have, it's not a easy feat. But I would probably see him as the underdog going up against Replicant there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. We will just quickly give you an update on the underground bracket. That will be starting up pretty much now. Nai will have to take on Blob in the only round 1 match down there. The winner of that will take on Alimento. We know another match that will be happening pretty much now as well, which is Kosalina versus Hajimaru. That's I would love to have seen that, but I feel like we're going to be doing the next
Yeah.
semi-final next, which will be Riffet versus Grimwood. And obviously we know that Yoshin and Alphon are waiting the results of Rep, Okrim and Junior Iceman before they can get started on their underground journey. But yeah, it looks like we do have semi-final one up for grabs, and it is going to be Riffet versus Grimwood.
Right, and I mean, I also want to point out, since the last time I casted a EU Arms Challenge, which was probably like more than a year ago at this point, I did really have to kind of give kudos to the European community, you casting here, and everyone organizing this, because this is going so smoothly, and especially for me, who's like, I'm used to being, hosting and doing everything, but right now I'm just chilling here and talking about arms. I couldn't be having a greater Sunday than this, and
Aww.
I mean, this is really cool to see that everything is just working out so smoothly here. So big kudos for the EU Arms community here, and Nintendo UK, if you're watching, we're out here,
I mean, I would love to. I mean, if they ever sent an email going, hey, look, I mean, there's Splatoon happening, but there's also Arms, I'd be like, look, I could do Splatoon another time. Arms rarely gets this treatment. Give me my mic. Just give me the mic.
I mean, we're ready. We're ready. If Nintendo UK ever wants to do anything like NA has done, I would just say, come at us, bro. We've been doing this. Like, it's insane when you think back of it, because it doesn't feel like a long time. But then every time I look back at it, it's like, what? It's been like 2 or 3 years already.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but. Again, as things are going smoothly, it looks like we're just heading into the semi-finals here. Riffet versus Grimwood.
And we're going to see Misango not make an appearance this time round. Riffet going to bring out the tried and trusted Ninjara. Grimwood coming in with the coil. I see a big non-elemental glove in the back there, but it's not going to come out on this occasion. It's going to be Shakram Toaster for Grimwood. Meanwhile, Riffet coming back out with the Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon as well.
Wow, that was a very good beginning kind of sequence here from Grimwood, just approaching and getting that stun in to grab. And as I said, I think Grimwood has been the one kind of trying to study the game the most, and there's been a lot of talk of Coil being the top character in the game. People have been doing a likeness for Bayonetta and Coil. Maybe not exactly the same, but it's really interesting to see Grimwood kind of, I guess, studying the character and being the one in the European Arms community going for it. Now, that was almost a thing that could have been a perfect round, but Riffet has some life left in him.
Yeah, Riffet does not like being perfected on. We know this from previous tournaments, but they are already in critical, and Grimwood has so much health, and obviously Coil has that air superiority, and not only that, she has the third glove that she can throw out. Obviously, it is randomized, so it's either 2 toasters or it's 2 Shakrams, and to be fair, which one's worse, as Ninjara goes down and drops the first point to Coil.
That looks so solid from Grimwood, and I want to point out how he kind of gets the third arm there. Oh, clipping the explosive arm as well. He's on fire today. I can really sense it, and it's not a lot of very often that you see Riffet in the second round switching out his Ice Dragon to the Slapamander here, which is when you kind of know that Riffet is trying hard, when he has to switch out his main set, which he's done now, and he's getting blasted by Grimwood by the looks of it right now. He's just Grimwood is just keeping up with this pressure from Riffet, and it's, I don't know, this is just like a perfect gameplay right now. Oh my god, that sequence.
Grimwood is just not letting anything go. This surely will be a perfect. Is that a perfect this time round? It is. It's the first perfect of the stream today, and it goes the way of Grimwood. I did say earlier Riffet didn't like being perfected on, so we'll see how he bounces back on that. Grimwood shutting him out.
My mind is blown. Holy crap. I remember facing Grimwood's Coil like a year back when I was having it as a secondary, and Grimwood and us were like, we were trading. I wouldn't stand a chance against this Coil anymore. Holy crap, that looked like perfect gameplay. I mean, that made me kind of think of how Chateau plays, but maybe a little less grabs than what Chateau usually does, but it's really interesting. It's almost like Grimwood has found, not just been studying, but found his own path into how to play Coil, which is it's insane. I mean, because it's difficult because there is not any other top coil like Grimwood in. I mean, it's Alistair's, I guess, but not in the same way as it exists in Japan or North America. So that Grimwood has been able to figure this out is good stuff. I would say this is really good ARMS gameplay right here.
It certainly is. Riffa at least being able to slow down the tempo on this occasion actually has a bit of a health lead, just keeping Grimwood at bay with the use of that Ice Strike and finally getting to utilize it a lot more than they did in the previous match, and also gets away from the rush as well. Ninjara's wonderful ability of being able to teleport if they get a successful shield, very much helping them with that course. Finally gonna start getting pegged down by the Toasters, and comes out with the rush of their own, gets the initial clip but can't follow through with the rest of it.
Oh, and there you see Coil just having that superior ability of being able to slide out of a rush, which no other character can do. Now the clock is really ticking, and it's going to be difficult for Grimwood to play patiently and get back the health lead now. Now he felt desperate there and had to go for the rush, but that's when you're playing into Riffa's game plan, because if you're playing desperate, Riffa is going to sniff that out of a second and just use that against you. And now 10 seconds left. Grimwood on Magic Pixel, he can't really do anything else than trying to build a rush, but Riffa is not even going to let him do that.
Yep, 6 seconds left on the clock, and it was pretty much academic that Riffa will take that point away from Coil. Will we see the switch? Probably. Oh, we do see the switch, and it is going to be the double big buffs. We're going to see non-elemental gloves to be traded out with that little bit extra punch-in power.
Yeah, this is interesting. Okay. Oh, Grimwood. Oh, I feel the pain for Riffa there. Like when Coil slides out of a rush like she can do like that. That hurts for everyone involved except the Coil. Maybe even for the Coil sometimes. But I mean, we're really seeing some kind of high-level play here now, when both of the players are trying to adapt to each other's picks of the arms. Grimwood is on the short end of the stick right now, but trying to kind of get it back in, but without any elemental, on those arms, it's gonna be a tough challenge to get back, because you can't really combo into anything. Oh, with the Russian, that's gonna be enough for Riffa to just take it back. Two rounds apiece for both games, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Grimwood, when already in critical condition, was playing very aggressively, going straight up into Riffa's face, and Riffa's like, well, thank you very much, that's a free rush attempt for me. And one apiece. We are going to see match number 3, first time on the stream today. Ooh. And that was just, like I said, I did say that Riffa does not like being perfected on, and just immediately shot back with a realization that they know how Grimwood's playing, and Coil is going to bring in the same loadout. So, but obviously it's a bit different stage now. We're going to bust the beach, so not as open.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the kind of key elements for ARMS is that you really don't have a lot of time to adapt. Like, it's way less than what you would say in like a game like Smash or something like that, where you have like several minutes. Here you just have 99 seconds, and you really need to figure it out ASAP. And I feel like that's kind of what we've been seeing in these two games as so far. Now both of the players are probably going to be a bit more defensive in the beginning here, because they don't want to be losing the first round here, because it really does give you such an advantage in the second round. Like if you start with a rush or anything, you have a lot more leeway. So we see them very much taking their time to find their way in, and it's looking kind of even right now, I would say, in terms of pressure.
Yeah, Riffa very much in the hot pocket and has nowhere to go with that. Only takes 130, but it's still damaged, so Grimwood will be at least a little bit happy with that. Obviously, Riffa teleporting all the way into that corner, obviously at that point really can't go anywhere else, so it's Grimwood trying to use that to their advantage, but still trying to play a bit too aggressively, and Riffa's going to capitalize on it.
Can't slide out of this one, Riffa says, and I mean, this is really impressive. I think Grimwood was almost like, I guess, pressuring in Riffa with that rush initially, but now, the damage, the pressure, but Riffa just slips and slides out of that. He really need to hit that one, but time is ticking again. Because they played so passively in the beginning, it's going to come down to this.
Oh, well, they got the hit. They got the hit with 10 seconds to go, but Ninjara is going to get a few more tags. Now Grimwood has got to hit another hit with the shotgun and a grab at the very least, and I don't think they're going to get it. No, they won't. It's a 0-second KO to boot, and it puts Riffa in the advantage going into the final point.
And as I said, I mean, Riffa, not in the hot pocket, has a rush available. Grimwood This is really tough for Grimwood, I would say, and especially like this. Now he might have been able to kind of get a feel for Rifa's main setup now, but he switched out to his secondary in the potentially last round, getting the rush cancel as well. Oh, Rifa's kind of mind must be in a great place right now. I think he has everything going for him, and if he can get like a rush confirm or anything here with a wind or an explosion, I think this is game. He's going to winners finals right now.
Yeah, I was going to say just one more windy slap was all they need, although Grimwood is going to fling in as many toasters as possible, gets the initial slide and will block out the rest of the rush attempts on the cusp of critical. Rifa knows they can't allow Grimwood to get back into this match, because if anybody can turn this around, it will be Grimwood, with 3 fiery gloves coming their way, and they are still in this hot pocket, and they have been punished back here before. Another quick little of a couple taps. Grimwood is going to go for the rush and bait out and move from Rifa. Gets 230, and this could still go Grimwood's way.
Yes, super patient play from Grimwood. You could almost see the gears in his mind turning there when he he was trying to figure out how he could catch Rifa off guard. I mean, he still only has one chance, and he's not gonna get it. Rifa moves on to the winners semifinals, but my God, like as I said, it's almost like a puzzle. And if Rifa's gameplay is a puzzle, it's an ever-changing puzzle. Even if you get it right one round, it's not going to be the same the second round and the third round, or even the second game. And that's the main challenge of going up against Rifa. And unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for Grimwood to take it and move on. It's going to go down to the losers bracket right now.
I'm afraid so, and we're also going to get ourselves ready for semi-final number 2, which we do have the results for from the previous rounds. Replican taking out Okrim 2-0. Junior, however, going down against Iceman 2-0. So it will be Replicant versus Iceman in our second semi-final, which is going to be very interesting to behold, especially considering the fact that that is the invitational winner out into the underground bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the UK matchup, if anything. I don't know how many times I've seen Replicant and Iceman going up against each other, but because they've always tried new sets, and like because they've always trying, I mean, for Iceman more or less like more new characters, I never really know who is having the upper hand, because even though, you know, someone has won the invitational, if the other decides to switch either their set or their character, it's almost like it's a new setup, like it's a new it's a new matchup that you can't really expect anything out of.
Absolutely, and we're just waiting on you to join, and then we can get ourselves started. Both our players are ready to go. Whilst we wait for the third to join in, we do have some news from the underground bracket. Nye is out 2-1 against Blob, so Blob does catch somebody by surprise and is moving onwards into underground round 2. Kozlina has knocked out Hajimaru in underground round 2, so everybody else will be playing down there. Those matches are Alimento versus Blob, Junior versus Yoshi, and Okrim versus Alphon. But for right now, it's the second semi-final, and is that a Springtron?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like every time I see these guys play against each other, I never know what they're gonna play. And I know that Iceman has been kind of, I think, like last season and a half, he's been getting his Springtron game on, but I haven't seen this arm setup on Replicant. This is almost silly, because these guys know each other so well that it's just like their own freaking 4-dimensional mind games at this point. It's even hard to understand. It's like an alien language, right? You can't even tell what they're saying anymore.
It's like everybody else is playing arms, whilst these two are playing chess in arms. Replicant coming out with the Hydra and the Lockjaw. EMP is going to go up for Iceman. Doesn't get any of the picks on the arms, but does speed them up anyway, and is going to get them caught in a grab as well. Was that another EMP on the way? No, not on this occasion. Just going to let that one drift out for the time being.
Yeah, and this is a dangerous matchup for. I mean, I do like the Lockjaw. It's a very unique arm, but it's a very dangerous matchup against a Springtron or a Springman who knows their way around heavy arms. What? He survived that? Okay, alright, Replicant.
Well, that and the fact that I was almost expecting Iceman to go in with the rush there, because nothing was really going to be able to stop that with an arm down, but Iceman just wants to hold on to it for a little while longer. EMP going to come out and give them their boosts again. Lockjaw isn't going to get anything on the projectile, comes out with the rush, not going to hit it. Springtron is already moving, and that's 320 from that rush alone.
That was some sick pressure by Iceman, just like deflecting in Replicant's face, trying to bait out that rush, and Replicant did exactly what Iceman wanted, and now putting it down to the wire again, 8 seconds, and I mean, this could still go either way.
Oh, the grab comes out. If anything hits, the Hydra hits, and a double! The 1-2 tap, and Replicant takes it right at the end. Well, if when your health is that close, anything can happen, and unfortunately, that Hydra absolutely stopped Iceman in his tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to pick that apart, but I feel like Iceman is someone that is very good at utilizing that pressure in sometimes, but at key points you really have to know when you don't want to be the one pressuring, because then you can put yourself in a bad spot, and I feel like Iceman did try to go for that pressure on a long time, but he probably should have been playing more passively at the end there. Now he's able to sidestep most of that rush, which could have been like critical damage with that lockjaw, and so he is in a pretty good position, I would say, here now. But now he just needs to find a way in, and having a light arm against that heavy arm can be hard to find their way in when it's going on left and right like that.
Yeah, Rush is ready to go for Iceman as well, but they are going to get finally caught by the wonderful fiery nature of Rep. And unfortunately, they went a little too soon with the arm. They went too soon with the Hydra, and Iceman takes full advantage of that and gets another EMP off for good measure.
I was talking about unique arms, but unique characters is also a thing. There's not a lot of spring crons in Europe right now, and it's very hard to kind of know the EMP timings by hand, and like Replicant just unfortunately just too soon stepped into that. He does have a rush and he can use it, but he might as well just save it to the next round. Yeah, I almost feel like he didn't want to use it there, because it wouldn't have been a clean win there. So now he starts out with a rush, but Iceman has like 80% of his, so it's not a lot of leeway, but it has some at least.
Exactly, and the Hydra and Lockjaw is still going to come out, and the Rang is going to find its way around. Replicant going to deny that one and comes in with the rush. Only 175, but it at least catches Iceman off guard for the time being.
Yeah, and you can't, as Iceman is kind of showing very much so there, that you can't really approach a Springtron when they do have a rush and going for the EMP, because you can cancel out that end lag of the rush for, or the EMP on the Springtron, sorry, and just use a rush. So you have to be really careful to approach a Springtron with a rush. It's almost like they have their spare life in their pocket there, and can just use it whenever, but at the same time, that means Iceman maybe does not want to use that rush, and Replicant could feel some security in that now that they both have it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and getting some good reads as well at the moment, like the Lockjaw projectile. I think Iceman just getting caught out by it twice there, just dashing straight into it. Another EMP going off for Iceman. Tribolt not going to find their target on this occasion. Tries to go for the rush, but again, Springtron just that little bit too quick. That EMP just gives them that little extra speed, and off to the side they go with another rush of their own.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it looked so sick, but it wasn't that nearly enough in damage-wise, because he doesn't have, like, any explosion arm or anything. So, while that looked super insane, Iceman is still on the receiving end of these hits right now, and it's looking so difficult. Trying to chase down a Lola Pop is not the easiest thing.
It really isn't, but with 10 seconds left on the clock, and Iceman is going to try and do one of Replicant's own, but Replicant does have rush to go here, and pops it straight into Tron's face. EMP will not save you, my friend, and with that, Replicant will finally take the first point of this set.
That, I mean, style points to Iceman there, like that rush cancel. Like if you saw from Iceman's perspective there, he was almost like behind Replicant. It was almost like the Omaewa mo Shinderu moment. Like he just sidestepped and like went all the way around to cancel him. He didn't have to do that, but it did. But you know, I think that kind of really showed the I guess disparity in damage in some of the arms in the game, because even though Iceman did such a clean counter of the rush there, he still had 2 wind arms, and they, you know, 1 light arm and 1 medium arm. You know, you're gonna have to, you know, throw out a few more punches to end the game there, and Replicant with his explosions, you know, explosions extraordinaire. He's not gonna let that. Oh, now we see something.
Well, we get the Lola Ditto. It'll be our first Ditto of the day. Thankfully, they're coming in with very different arms. Replicant's going to stick with those. They're not going to go double Lockjaw. Don't do this to us. There we go. That's more like it. Tri-Bolt Lockjaw is going to be the change for Replicant. Meanwhile, Iceman going to come in with the Popper and the Scorpion. We have seen this earlier on in this tournament. So, what do you reckon? Will this do any better?
I mean, I think this Ditto is one of the wackiest Dittos in the game. Seeing these guys bouncing around all over the place is going to be... I mean, it's really hard for me to tell. I think this is one of the matchups I have the least amount of experience in, so I'm just more or less excited to see how this will go, and if there's any actual strategies besides bouncing around. Right now, it looks like the homing on the Lockjaw for Replicant is doing him a lot of favors. Like, even though Iceman is bouncing away, the Lockjaw is just like hunting him down almost.
Yeah, the bolts are at least keeping Iceman in check as well, so the loadout Iceman has got is definitely helping because it's given more for Iceman to try and dodge, and like I said, if they can just get a string of consistent hits in, they'll be absolutely fine. And the Popper is easy to thwart out as well, but at the same time, in its rush capacity, it will deal the damage and catches Replicant off guard, and with that, Iceman will take the health lead, and a nice timed grab to boot.
Yeah, that was sick. I think, yeah, this is going to be difficult for Replicant to try to catch Iceman with a rush on the Lockjaw, because you really need to corner a Lola Pop to not slip and bounce out from that rush. And, I mean, if, you know, Iceman is definitely going to be that person to do that. So you really need to kind of figure it out here, but it's a hard thing. There's no corner here. Iceman can just jump around forever.
And with 3 seconds to go, Iceman has the health lead and should be able to hold on to it on this occasion. Does so. Not going to go down to any last second shenanigans this time around. Just has to keep bouncing. I like the fact that they almost mirrored each other there. Like, they were both doing the same bounce at the same time. Both trying to go out with the arms at the same time. And Iceman holding on as a result, as we're going to see. Is that a missile we see now? Yep, it is indeed. And if Replicant immediately presses the rush button, but not going to get it again against Iceman.
I love them both standing there inflated, just looking at each other for a couple of secs there. That was... it's almost like standing there menacingly. But yeah, we see both of the players kind of switching out their arms. Iceman is no stranger to using the homie, and Replicant, of course, switching back to more a lighter set to kind of be able to catch Iceman off guard. And I mean, the rush on the boomerang is also like a big factor here, because it can swoop you in from the side and just scoop you up, and that's a really nice tool against another Lola Pop. And I just in general, this game, this round specifically, would probably be more even because of that.
Yeah, and obviously you've got the Coolerang as well, which can just strip Lola of her abilities as well if it does land. So it really is a decent trade from both parties, but Replicant already down to the half health, and Iceman is not going to dodge it on this occasion. 345 damage, sends them onto the cusp of critical, but as we all know, those missile rushes can absolutely change that.
Yeah, he didn't even need to scoop him up with the boomerang rush there. Could just use it straight to the face. And as I said, this is going really down to the wire because of how evenly matched I believe these arms are. And Iceman really just trying to push away Replicant with the homie. He's not going to get that chance though, but he puts him in the red.
Yep, got the Popper. The Popper was all that needed to hit, and Replicant is not going to get anything on that. It's going to be a 2-0 on match 2. Both semi-finals will be going to match 3. It's 1 apiece. And do remember, the Replicant is the reigning champ, so Iceman has the potential to knock the champ down into underground bracket, and very on par to do so, I would say, with that 2-0. They absolutely turned it completely on its head, and the Popper, you never underestimate the Popper. Yes, it's one of the lightest arms in the game. Yes, it can be punched through by pretty much everything, but it's incredibly quick, and, well, you saw what it can do there.
I think one thing to just keep a note in these kind of matches as well, for any top players, is that, you know, maybe they are a character specialist, but when they go up in a Ditto, usually they're not that experienced in that specific matchup, which is kind of ironic in a way. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing here. The Replicant is a super strong Lola Pop, and Iceman knows that, but maybe he also knows that Replicant hasn't really played a lot of other Lola Pops. So maybe that isn't Iceman's strongest character, but it's Replicant's weakness. So I think he's just trying to use that against him in this certain case. And now it's almost like we reset everything because now they both went, like Replicant went back with the Lockjaw Hydra and Iceman went with a Popper Scorpion, I guess. So I guess they're just like trying to feel each other out in this initial round here.
Yeah, and Replicant definitely getting the better of it, and just look at how consistent they've been so far. Another grab already, and Iceman is on the cusp of critical. Replicant has barely taken any damage, comes in with the rush, not going to get it once again. Iceman's just going to switch on over to the side, don't get any damage on a potential counter this time round, but does have rush available. But with such a massive health lead, I somehow don't think the rush will be coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, this we see them staring each other down there again. I think this was kind of a loss in terms of arm choices in the beginning round here. I think Iceman kind of tried to read into that Replicant wouldn't pick up the Lockjaw again, and then went with the Scorpion, which might have not been the best choice. I mean, now he's doing a comeback, which is great.
And
but yeah, what a way to do so. Oh no, okay. This is getting a bit sloppy right now. They're just slugging it out in the last few seconds here, going in the red for both of them.
Yeah, that rush absolutely should have been done and dusted, but Replicant managed to get a last second hit in. Iceman keeps this alive in the dying seconds and actually gets the grab. Are you absolutely joking?
From downtown. Yeah, I feel like Iceman, I still feel like Iceman kind of read into something there that didn't exist and went for, tried to use the Scorpion for something that wasn't really happening. Now, in the end, it kind of worked out, but it really looked like he was struggling there for most of the round. So I guess that's more speaking for Iceman's abilities. But again, we see Replicant just punching out the boomerang rush. No need for those scoops. He can just go in for the full face hit there.
Yeah, when Iceman just comes waddling on in with the shield already deployed. Scorpio gonna be gently bouncing off the shield on this occasion, and Replicant, well, they were able to build up a lead last time round, but Iceman again, just they seem to operate better the later on a match gets, and Replicant finally starting to slow that down, gets a solid Coolerang hit, catches Iceman in midair, and you just feel like if this popper keeps on going through, Iceman's gonna have another rush confirm coming up very soon.
Yeah, this is looking tough, and he catches him out with a super dash. What a catch! 360 gets him down to red, and oh, he's poisoned, double poisoned even. I mean, Replicant does get a rush in there, but he's looking not so good right now. Oh, and it clips him! It clips him, and it's like pinky. Like, that is really almost at the edge of the hitbox of him, and it just gets him. Oh, that's beautiful played by Iceman.
Yep, Replicant unfortunately loses that 2-0, and as a result, the reigning champ is down in the underground bracket. Iceman moves on forward, and well, I guess it was destined to be. The winners final is coming up. It's our first best of 5 of the tournament, and it will be between the two players who both have 12 cup wins. Iceman versus Riffer.
That's a good one, and I mean, again, it's funny because whenever I see a tournament like the North American tournaments in ARMS, people are really so stuck to their guns of like, okay, I'm this main character, I'm like doing this. And sometimes, you know, we see some wacky things, or they're bringing in a new arm and stuff like that. But here in Europe, they're like, people are so deep inside each other's minds that they're like going like Iceman going Lola Pop against Replicant, just kind of like, hey, no, you. I'm the Lola Pop here, I'm the captain. And then I don't know, it's a lot of these situations where they're just kind of, people have specialized in each other, you know, in a different way than I can see in other regions, at least from the outside. And so I'm just really enjoying watching these types of games where I mean, I have no idea what I'm gonna see now with Riff and Iceman, even though I've seen them play against each other for the past 2 years.
Absolutely. I was gonna say you've probably watched and also fought them plenty of times in your career. So it's just like you get the best of both worlds. You probably know what they're gonna do, but at the same time you also know what they're not gonna do. So it's
yeah. And for me myself, like I mean, people probably notice that I'm the most stubborn guy ever who is just only going with the Springman. So I haven't been able to experience this in the same way that these guys are duking it out in, because these guys are playing at the highest level of European arms, and they are pushing each other to the limit every time, so they're adapting to each other. I'm not even close to that. I'm like, I'm below them, so I've never really gotten to push someone else like this. So it's really fun to see. And you know, here we have it again. Masango and Springtron in winners finals. What the hell?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever seen these two specific characters go against each other in this series. Like, in all of these cups, on all the ones I've done over the past year, I've never seen a Masango versus Tron. So this is just goes to show that the EU community really do like to keep things as fresh as possible, as River comes in with the Phoenix and the Chiller still. Springtron with the Chiller of their own, but coming in with the Tri-Bolt, and so far it's not working out for them.
Yeah, this is gonna come down, I think, more or less who has the stronger secondary. And I feel like Rifa, he's been playing and trying out the Masango for like quite some time. I feel Iceman just recently started using his Springtron, so I feel like in terms of experience, Rifa probably has the upper hand here. But you know, we've got surprised several times in a row today, and you know, Iceman can still do that. And now he does go in with a solid, you know, grab onto the frozen Masango there. Frozen mango.
Frozen mango, yeah. If you want some frozen mango in your smoothie, go for it. But also, both arms weak. One on the right hand side, and Iceman already down onto 1 HP. River just wants one more little poke. Finally gets the poke with the Chiller, and is going to take the initial point in this first matchup.
Great job by Rifa to keep up the pressure there. Like when you haven't gotten off the initial deflect as a Springtron or Springman, there is this kind of lag when you start to charge up the deflect. It's a very hard one to catch out, but what you have to do is you have to go with uncharged punches and be in someone's faces, which can be really scary against a deflect character.
Oh my, gosh.
That was like 200 IQ play of Rifa there. He just empty jumps against... Okay, I'm out. This is extreme play out of Rifa. Like, what the hell is going on? He empty jumps up against Iceman, gets and now he gets the rush confirm as well.
And just
the
like
style points is in his favor.
the style points are in his favor, but Iceman has came back in, and now they're both on level health already, and there's still another 50 seconds left in this match to go. Phoenix will get the charged hit on Tron and drops them immediately. River just looking for a couple more punches, but Iceman can still turn this around. The Biffler is going to get the smoke screen up. I hope you like our mascot, because you'll be seeing him a lot. And River finally tidies this away and gets us started 1-0 in the best of 5.
If anything, that was like the confidence boost to smack Iceman into playing one of his mains. Like the way Rifa handled that. The sequence from like empty jumping in on a Springtron and just grabbing them and then rush confirming in mid-air, that's... I think that's Rifa just showing his prowess in this game straight up, and even though he did lose the health there in the end, I like... His confidence was like off the charts. Like, you don't really do that otherwise.
Yeah, you really don't. Also, so we had Blobman earlier. Can we just rename Rifa to Biffler Man? Oh no, we can't. We can't anymore because the Biffler isn't in anymore. Masango is going to come in with the Chiller Seiki going up against the Lola. Lola coming in with a Seiki of her own. What are you all doing today?
They're off their shits. That's what I tell you. It's very much like Iceman. Iceman, of course, has, you know, the experience of using both Homie and Seiki, but Rifa, I think I've seen him use Seiki on Masango, so this could just be a really awesome coincidence here, but I bet a funny one, because the Seiki battle is a very janky one. Like, the homing is so automatic on the Seiki, so you can't really steer it as you'd like, and when you have two arms doing that side by side, it's going to be very hard to meet the other arm. You're going to have to try your very best to kind of do that, but God.
Yeah, so
Rifa's pressure.
yeah, Riffa's relentless pressure. Another grab sends Iceman into critical, and you feel like Riffa's just gonna hold on to this. And somehow that would have been the KO a couple seconds sooner, but the missile just flew right over Lola's head. But the Chiller will get the initial final blow. And both will come into this with their rushes available. We're going to lose the missile on Iceman's side of things, coming back in with that Scorpion, but immediately the Seeky is going to catch our wonderful clown out of midair.
Yeah, I think Riffa just kind of... I think he's gotten into Iceman's head there, because Iceman was frozen with a little HP left, but he still threw out an arm, and I think he was expecting Riffa to just like confidence grab him, and Riffa saw through that. So I think he's like on a way other level right now, and it's gonna be tough for Iceman to just like push away this momentum that Riffa has built up over the last few rounds now. And I mean, what can I say? What can I say when he's playing like this? Riffa, you're crazy.
Yeah, Riffa has been playing Misango for so long now that it's that confidence. The second they get one successful move in, it just snowballs from there, and Riffa just did not look like they were losing that match anytime soon. And despite the switch back to something a little bit more comfortable for Iceman, Riffa just continues to dominate, and it is 2-0 in winners final. And well, we're going to Mausoleum now, and Iceman, well, here comes the Cobra.
I was expecting him to go Min or Ribbon Girl, but I think in one way Iceman is sticking to his guns by not doing that. I think he's just like, no, I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction of going either Ribbon Girl or Min, forcing him to do that. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing Iceman playing Kid Cobra, I would say. I mean, of course, both of these guys is like extraordinary fundamentals in this game, so it's not the entire world, but maybe I can't read into this anymore. I'm just gonna have to wait and see how this one goes.
I mean, to be fair, Iceman has gone through 3 different characters, so 3 different kinds of playstyles, and obviously Cobra's arms that little bit bigger, and also that extra mobility that Cobra has. The windiest of slaps are finding their way around, and obviously against the Megawatt it is a good tool to utilize, but the rush is somehow still going to connect. 230.
He activated a rush in off neutral against the most slippery boy of Kid Cobra, and still he knew or like felt it in his guts that he was gonna hit one of those Shillas and just got the closing hits with the Megawatt. I mean, I have said it again and again, but the confidence of Riffa right now is just shining. He's like a freaking lens flare right now on the stage, and he closes out the first round in such fashion that, you know, I have a hard time seeing Iceman going back or coming back from this.
Well, if anybody can, Iceman can, and we're going to see the Coolerang come out, but immediately gets caught by the Megawatt of all things, and the trampoline is out, so River won't probably utilize it as much. Iceman, I feel like, will probably utilize the trampoline as much as they can, but they are going to get caught by the rush again. Phoenix just rolls on around them. The Megawatt at least doesn't get the hit in, but Iceman is already on the cusp of critical. Finally goes for the rush, cashes them with the Coolerang, 370 damage. Wow. Nicely done, but they've still got a ways to go to turn this back onto their side of things. But again, another little curling in. It's starting to do so here. Like, obviously going in with 2 curved arms, it's definitely helping them get around the Watt and cancelling out the Phoenix in the same breath. And another good time grab, 170, and just like that, Riffa's on the cusp of critical.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of grab that the Kid Cobra has of like slamming someone down, it works so well on this stage because you can slam someone down into the trampoline. So Iceman really kind of wants to get that, I think. Whoa, that was so close. Oh my god.
Yeah, from my point of view, I think River just suddenly went, okay, I cannot believe that didn't hit. Screw this fight, we're rushing now. That is a 3-0. That is a shutout for River. And, well, he's looking to make his own sort of history. And through to the grand final he goes.
I think Iceman has his life flash right before him there, because that Megawatt was just like hunting him down before Riffa just had enough with that last rush. That was crazy, and I it's crazy because like as I said, when I look at Riffa's Misango, I don't see the game plan. I just see great fundamentals, which it's not a bad thing. It's just very interesting because it's a very unique Misango. When I've seen Misangos being used in Japan, people have like super clear-cut like gimmicks that they use with Misango, like red mask in this situation, blue mask in this situation. And I think Rifa, you know, he did use the yellow mask for the rush kind of exchange there to feel security, but other than that, it just feels like he's freebasing the entire gameplay, and I think that's one of his strengths. Like, no one has been able to kind of figure it out. Like, what is he actually going for here? And to me, that just kind of says it all. Like, if everyone is struggling to figure you out, you're on such a high level of gameplay that you can just, you know, take a chill pill and just end things.
Yeah, but that's exactly what happened there. And with that, we are now going to turn our attention to the underground bracket. Specifically, we're going in to underground round 4, which I do believe is the quarterfinals down there. And what we will be seeing, one of 2 matches. And that match will be Replicant, reigning champ rep, going up against Kozolina. Their journey through the underground bracket has been pretty interesting to note. We have lost Hajime, we've lost Blobman, we've lost Yoshi, and we've lost Alphon. All of those were 2-0s with the exception of Alphon, who lost 2-1 against Arkrim, so a good fight there. And Arkrim also going the distance with Junior as well, but Junior winning that one 2-1. Meanwhile, Kozolina taking out Alimento by 2-0. So that is your underground bracket for the time being.
And I mean, I look going into this game here, Replicant versus Kozolina. It is seed 1 versus seed 6, but to be fair, like these seeds at the top level here in this region, they're so close to each other that, like, I mean, I do think that Replicant has had a higher kind of win streak against Kozolina, but again, it's always one of those things that, like, if Replicant isn't on his best day, then this could go either way, you know. I think that it's all about if Replicant can tame Kozolina's explosive playstyle, like we saw earlier with Rifa. I believe, yeah, it was Rifa. But okay, we're gonna have another bouncy pad later.
No. Hey, remember when not the last online open, but the previous one where it was just like the top 8 were just consistently all coils? Yep, EU are now turning into that, but instead of it being coils, it's Lolas. We got Replicants on the left with the Tribolt and the Missile. They're both playing the same kind of arms here. They're both coming in with an explosive arm. 1 missile versus 1 Tri-Blast. No, versus the nade even. And we've got both sets of the Tri-Bolts on show.
Like, I don't... excuse me, I don't think I have the strength to try to figure out this matchup in this short amount of time. It's just... It feels like... I can't see any logic when I see 2 Lollipops bouncing around on each other. There probably is, but I'm not the one to tell you that. At this point, I'm just seeing 2 balloons bouncing around, and one of them is exploding and the other one isn't. Well,
to be fair, Kozolina does come in with this with double explosives, so the nade, obviously an unguided arm, it will do that little bit extra spicy damage, but like I said, the trade-off for that, you gotta be a little bit more accurate with it. The Tri-Blasts will help with that a little bit, but obviously Replicant has more targets to cause a self-destruct, and obviously the missile in the rush is always formidable, and the homing does lock on, takes Kozolina down into critical. Replicant needs to be a little bit cautious here though, because they are stuck in this hot pocket, and Kozolina is slowly chaining these together. Not going to get the grab on this occasion, and the nade is going to get thwarted, but again, these bolts are consistently going through.
Yeah, you never want to give Kozolina that opportunity to turn the momentum in their favor, because if she gets that chance, she just like piles it on.
Oh!
Tries to go for the rush confirm, but from that distance it's going to be near impossible, and unfortunately it doesn't. Yeah, it just ends with a KO right there. But I like that. Again, that shows you the way Kozolina plays. She really wants to go for like the kill, and going for a rush confirm from that distance would have been the sickest play we've seen today. But unfortunately, that's not gonna be it this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say with a wind element that would have worked, but unfortunately from that kind of range, it's a little bit harder to really land those kind of mini time juggles. Coslina is gonna go somewhat down to Replicant's rush there, but quickly bounces on back with a grab of her own and keeps his health relatively at level pace here. Coslina already has rush to go and again tries to go for it, but just a little too far away.
Yeah, I mean, that's so unfortunate. I think it's not the end though. Replicant only has a half rush, but that's gotta hurt to go into like the first match like this and being down around as well. I think the thing Cosalina really wants to go for that I've seen a bit is like trying to aim the explosive punches on the wall behind Replicant, get Replicant up against the wall and try to clip him from behind, which has been working out a lot since, you know, the way Lollapop moves around. But Replicant is out in the open here for the most part, so it's almost impossible for Cosalina to even go for that kind of setup.
You feel like Replicant probably has that knowledge in the back of his mind. Already into critical though, and Cosalina does have rush and is going to catch the explosion, takes the point away, and both will have rush to go in the final point of this first matchup.
It could have been that Replicant maybe was thinking about that way too hard. It almost felt like he was trying to avoid all of the kind of angles that Cosalina could clip him on, but instead the pressure was just enough that Cosalina could end that round. And I mean, I'm starting to feel like Cosalina has the momentum in her favor, and it's gonna go down to who gets this rush here. And we've seen it again, these two blobs just staring down on each other. But it's, yeah, both of them playing so passively right now. They don't want to lose this. They don't want to lose this exchange because it could mean the end for this game. It's so close. Oh wow, that tri-bolt was so close to Cosalina's face.
It just stopped at the last possible second. I don't think Replicant was too happy with that, but they do have Cosalina down to half health already, but the explosion is going to catch her out, and no rush on this occasion. It gives Replicant the chance to go in with the one of their own, but Cosalina gets a punish as well, bounces on up high, and the tri-bolt lands.
Yeah, that sick plays by Cosalina there. This is a very tough one. They're really just slugging it out right now. It's just like, no, you lose, no, you lose. It doesn't really feel like there's no rhyme or logic here. They just are trying to put the pressure on and see who comes out on top at this point. And yeah, too bad there. Oh,
yeah,
no.
Cosalina threw in the towel. Cosalina threw in the towel the second that, again, it's one of those things where you hate to see the rush come out and it graze and just shoves your opponent just off the side and gives them the chance to just fully shield the rest. And hey, Replicant finally wins a Lola Dodo.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, what we're watching right here is gonna be something for the other regions to study. Like, I don't think I've ever seen any tournament in Japan or North America have this heavy amount of Lola pop. Is everyone having a sweet tooth right now, or what is going on? Okay, now we finally see a change from Cosalina going to the Min, which is, I believe, her secondary alongside Lola pop. Perhaps, but it's interesting, and I do respect this. I think that this, I mean, Replicant is stronger in matchup that isn't the Ditto, but since the Ditto was kind of struggling a bit for Cosalina, I'm eager to see how this will play out.
Yeah, she's got the Tri-Blast on the Dragon Arm and coming in with the windiest of slaps, and so far that slap did catch Replicant off guard initially. Obviously with the bigger arms like the missile, as long as the slap can hit, it will stop that from doing any additional damage, but the bolts will still try and keep Min in check, since obviously again that added mobility will try and slow her down. Rush gonna come out from Cosalina, not gonna get it, uses it as an excuse to charge up the Tri-Blast to try and keep Replicant on guard, but obviously this is still anyone's to play for, as the rush is going to come out, and that will connect for 375.
Replicant just sniped down Cosalina with one of the tri-bolts hits there. It was just one stray bolt just going out there. And I feel like, you know, Min is such a momentum-based character. If you can't get that Dragon Arm up, then giving up a rush for a Dragon Arm is, you know, it's better than nothing. But in these types of situations, it's, you know, like, what is Cosalina going to do here? Like, approaching on this stage versus a Lola pop on a stage with no corners, it's not impossible, but it's a tough task.
Yeah, and Consolina already a point away from being taken out of this competition in the early stages, which would be unfortunate for her. Rush is going to come out, but once again, Replicant is just going to waddle in her face and just be like, yeah, nope. And that's a disconnect. I think Consolina's given up.
Yeah, the towel has been sent in, and I think that's most likely, if that was not a connection issue, that is probably going to be game here. And I mean, it's so unfortunate to see, because as I said, Kozolina is definitely one of the players that has she's put in so hard work to rise to the top in Europe and in ARMS in general. So very unfortunate to see, but again, you know, Replicant is seed 1 in this tournament and is one of the mainstays in this region.
Yep, and as a result, we are going to now wait for our next encounter. I do believe, unless I've been told otherwise, I think the match between Grimwood and Junior, I think, is currently going on, so I feel like we have a little bit of time to kill. And before Ockham is about to tell me that actually no, they're actually waiting. Yep, the game between Grimwood and Junior is currently ongoing and should be finishing soon. So it will be Replicant versus the winner of that in the underground semi-final. So top 4 will be on the way. We are going to take a quick little breather, and when we come back, we will have the top 4 for you. So underground semi-final will be our last best of 3. Then we'll go into the best of 5s of the underground final, and then the grand final. We will be back in just one moment. Okay, my friends, we are back with the 55th EU Arms Challenge Cup. I am still your girl, Tamashi Kancho.
And I am the Fur, joined by here, and it's great to be back in the casting seat and with you. It's been an incredible tournament so far. I think going into this this bracket today, I was not expecting the stuff that we've seen so far, but we do have our top 4, which has been a bit more what we expected, with I think a consistent top seeds here, besides Iceman, who has had the 5th seed coming in here. It's it's not a match we haven't seen before, but by what we saw from Grimwood earlier, this is going to be a super nice match to see, going up against Replicant using that coil that isn't very much used in Europe.
No, it isn't. Like I said, we kind of like briefly touched on it earlier, where the NA Open, or a lot of NA players generally have a coil coming out, whereas we don't really see coil. Well, there used to be a time where we just didn't see coil at all in the EU scene, but Grimwood has definitely found their niche with the coil, and it has really been helping them. I mean, you saw how frantic it was in their previous encounters earlier today, so expect the same kind of tenacity.
Yeah, and I mean, going but we've seen from today as well, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw any of the other characters that Grim can employ as well in this upcoming game. But I think the most interesting part where we saw Grimwood taking on Rifa earlier was that the game that he won, he looked unstoppable, but then Rifa just kind of figured him out, and I think that's been the main differential in other regions. When a coil has kind of rose to the top, it just looks like you can't defeat her, like it just looks impossible. But so far Rifa was able to prove Grimwood wrong and take that. But yes, as I said, we are not going to see the coil for at least the first game here. We're going to see a Lollapop versus Kid Cobra.
And I know some people will be very happy in the chat. We're going to see a Parabola on that loadout, and it looks like we're going to see at least one of those potentially from Replicant. Surely you're not going to go double on the early goings. No, we're not. We're going to see Tribolt, Parabola going up against Grimwood's Clapback and Popper. So an interesting combination to come out with here. We got basically an additional shield and a lightweight tool for Grimwood. So Replicant should be able to punch them down, but doesn't really have a curved tool to take out the Clap.
Yeah, and Grimwood has been super vocal about saying that that's Parabola like bouncing back looks so weird, but he's been super vocal about saying that he considers Kid Cobra to be one of the best characters, if not like alongside Coil, and I feel like it's very interesting to see, because he really believes in this character and this type of setup. And I mean, we have seen Cobra being used at the higher levels in the 2 other bigger regions, Japan and North America. People like Pineapple Freak in America and Hebirotte in Japan, and not really. I mean, we have JR who uses the Guardian, but we haven't really seen this style. And now we're going to see the first rush exchange, and unfortunately it's not going to go in Grimwood's favor there. He looked confident with it, but I think the shield just wasn't kind of short up enough there, or not close enough rather. But it's still pretty even, I would say.
Yeah, it's not very much even. Both on similar health here as Replicant finally dips down underneath critical. The pressure from the clapback from Grimwood so far has been pretty nice, but the Parabola is still managed to find its way poke through. Grab just a little too early on deployment, but does have rush as well, and actually goes for the commitment. Wanted to just take the point and be safe rather than hold on to it, and the clapback is going to catch Lola square in the face.
Beautiful Grimwood just jumping over the arm there, but I think in general Grimwood, the thing that gave him that he does it again, he just keeps jumping over Replicant's arms here, but he's really clipping Replicant a lot with the popper. Nice read on the grab there, but and the angle that he kind of gets, like he does an empty hop and then just uses the popper, he really kind of gets Replicant there. And now Replicant did get a rush, but it wasn't a full rush, and so it doesn't really do that much. He hasn't killed off Grimwood. He's still very much in this game.
Yes.
This looks going backwards with that shield out there. That's weird one.
Yeah, it's always a move in and of itself. The grab is going to come out from the Cobra, and always dealing that little extra damage as well. The 175 is now what that tally goes up to, and the clapback just waits on it. And I like the fact that Replicant just waddles on up to it. It's like, well, I've got my shield out, so it's not going to do any damage to me. It's just going to bounce off and put me into a position where I can go for the aggressive plays. Rush is going to come out and does catch Replicant, just about gets the shield up, so gets away with it. But they also know that one more tap from anything will give Grimwood the point, and it is going to find its way through in the end. Good start overall from both, but it is going to be 2 points in the favor of our slick little Cobra.
Yeah, the angle of the popper there was just working really well in Grimwood's favor, and I do want to point out that the clapback, like, while it's like main, I guess, gimmick to it is that it bounces back arms, it's really mostly used to gain I guess advantage on the stage, or like getting pressure, or like getting positioning basically on the stage, rather than actually being used to reflect an arm back, because I don't think even that Replicant hit himself in the face with his own arm there. So it's really good to see. And again, you know, I've spoken about this earlier with Grimwood, but he has been one of the players who've been studying the game so hard, and I think he's kind of understood this gameplay style from Kid Cobra of using the clapback for positioning and then like sniping people with the popper as much as possible, and you can also use that to rush confirm pretty easily.
Absolutely, and with that, they're going to take the initial point over the reigning champion. It was actually quite amusing just to have a look at the Discord chat. Grimwood was expecting the Seiki, Replicant was expecting the Coil, so they were both going for different. They were both setting up for completely different circumstances. So just goes to show, it's always a guessing game in this competition. You can figure out what they're going to bring based on how they've been playing. They can throw an absolute curveball and just rip the script completely. It's
oh yeah, and for the second match here, we're gonna go into Buster Beach. Sorry, that was my bad.
I was about to say, I was like, I saw the tag and I was like, I'm not in control of the lobby, don't you dare. Don't you dare shift that onto me.
Yeah, but so now we go into the second game, and you know, you can call out if the winner does do a character change, but we're not gonna see that. We're gonna see same characters but different arms. That is interesting.
Yeah, so Grimwood's gonna come out not with the clapback this time around. It's gonna have Popper and Boomerang. Meanwhile, Lola's gonna come in with the Hydra and the Phoenix, are going for an all-fiery loadout. And obviously against a character like Cobra, I mean, obviously not really a heavyweight character, but not only does it give them that little bit extra to try and avoid, obviously the Hydra definitely gonna try and hinder Cobra as much as possible. But the second it hits, he will just hit the deck anyway, but then again, that's just a trade that will go through for anyone.
Yeah, and I think Replicant is kind of looking to catch Grimwood in midair as well with that Hydra, because you can really get someone who's either just empty hopping like straight up, or like jumping forwards, which Grimwood did a lot in the previous game. So I think that's what he's kind of aiming for here, and trying to kind of I guess he wanted to use the Phoenix to go around the clapback, which is not facing right now, but it's still working out in his favor. You can catch out a lot of the angles of a Kid Cobra with both of these arms in tangent with each other.
Absolutely can. The grab is going to come out from the Cobra, sends Replicant just about onto the halfway mark. Grimwood, however, struggling a little bit more on this encounter. One more hit from Lola will likely take them out, and the rush is not going to do anything for them either. Gets both arms down into a weak spot. But Replicant is not going to give Grimwood the chance to even force a break on any of them, and now just definitely looking for one more hit with 15 seconds left on the clock. Armwick on the right hand side, which Grimwood is not going to be that fussed about, but finally trying to bear on through, but I don't think it's going to be enough, although I haven't said that. Nope, there it is.
Yeah, I think Grimwood at the end there was just trying to build up the rush as much as possible for the next round, but as someone pointed out in the chat, it sometimes feels like a dice roll when it comes to the European arms scene, and I do feel if this was a dice roll, then Replicant definitely rolled a higher number in that case, because it's just the way the arms interacted with each other and the characters, it just really was like everything in Replicant's favor, besides, you know, both being great players, having the right tools for you is going to help so much. Now Grimwood is back on the clapback, and yeah, it's gonna be of how Replicant can actually employ that strategy. I think that's what he wanted when he used Phoenix, and if he actually can get the right angles here. But yeah, I mean, right now he's getting the rush at least, so that's something.
Yeah, 350 damage, nothing to sniff at all. Grimwood on the cusp of critical. Having said that, Replicant isn't too far away from it as well, and Grimwood has enough time to get another rush charged up. So it's just going to be the case of if they can pin Replicant into this corner, but the Hydra keeps sniping them out every single time they go for these kind of commitments, and already down into critical, but the clapback is consistently sending the Phoenix of all things right back into Lola's face. Shield is going to get up, but it does break here, and that is going to be a 3 damage hit for Grimwood. Sends Replicant below the health, and another grab! 2 grabs in a row!
Again, man, it's that was definitely just Grimwood overcoming Replicant's like counter strategy there. Like he was trying to hit Grimwood in with the Hydra, but Grimwood was in the perfect angle where he was actually able to jump above the Hydra in the first grab there, and then he just reads him again and goes for another grab. Oh, and now, oh my god, this is on another level right now. Grimwood really getting into Replicant's head here.
Yeah, that Popper denying the rush is not going to sit well with Replicant at all. Grimwood has rush available as well and immediately deploys it and juggles Replicant in the air. 305, Replicant's in critical. Grimwood hasn't really had anything taken off their health at all yet. This is a mountain to climb for the reigning champion who has to win this to stay in the set. Finally they get through with the Hydra, but Grimwood, well, they're absolutely in the pound seats here, but they're finally getting picked out by the Phoenix. Popped into the corner. Another little Phoenix just swirling around the Cobra's ankles. And goodness me, if Replicant turns this around, this would be one heck of a comeback.
Yeah, the momentum is definitely starting to shift now. Grimwood is starting to respect the distance, which he really shouldn't. I mean, he does have the health advantage, so he's like just trying to back away and try to play on time here. And it's a tough call, but he's going for it. And
no! He dropped the shield. I think he must have thought he was just enough away to be able to commit to that. But the clapback, I think, just tagged it right in the corner. And that is going to take it away, and the reigning champ is out. Replicant finishes in 4th, and Grimwood moves through to the Underground final.
Really well played from Grimwood, and I think if it was possible to dislocate an arm in this game, it's just what he did right here with the clapback. It's something that you really can't underestimate, because one of the things with both the clapback and the Guardian is that it has such a weird like extreme homing rate when you use it in a rush, and a lot of players, like, they get lulled into this sense of security where it's like it doesn't look like it's that fast, but in rushes it's gonna turn its way around to you no matter where you are on the stage, and you know, it will catch even the best player off guard, and which it did right here with Replicant. And you know, it's one of those you hate to see it happen, because I've seen it so many times, and but I don't know, it's just very impressive to see Grimwood being able to kind of, it's almost like whenever I see him play, it almost feels like I'm seeing someone who's like studied for the test, and they just have all the right answers usually, and they're just like, well, this should be the correct answer, this should be the correct answer, and in this case he was right.
Yeah, he absolutely was, and with that he's going to see if he can take that momentum into the next fight with Iceman. For once, I say for once, not it is actually not as common as you'd think, but we actually have a situation where the top 3 players on the standings for today's tournament are in the top 3. Grimwood with 4 wins, Iceman with 12, and River with 12. So yeah, they are the highest ones to take part in the tournament today, and it will be the best of 5s from here on out. So we'll see what Iceman decides to bring to the table here. Obviously, he's had a nice chance to just sit back and relax. And what do you reckon? I mean, I say that knowing full well that the previous match they both went into an expectation and were both averted. So
yeah, I mean, at this point, both of the players, they're just like, as we said earlier, it's like almost like a dice roll with what kind of both setup on the arms and characters that we're gonna see. I feel instead of trying to judge the characters and like comparing them against each other, and I think that's me who's about to change the arms again. Yeah, or not the stage.
Yep.
Sorry about that. So it is Mausoleum, right? Is the first stage?
Yeah, Mausoleum.
Yeah. So the thing I want to say, instead of just comparing their characters, is comparing their mindset. And I feel like if Iceman goes into this with like, I'm gonna play my for fun characters, and Grimwood goes into, I'm gonna win this thing, then I do believe that Grimwood has the upper hand here. And I mean, I feel it right now with the Coil versus Iceman's lesser successful Springtron, but might be a character that he has way more fun with on this first match here, which is going to be on Mausoleum. And very nice kind of clipping out Grimwood there and knocking him down.
Yep, and obviously we're going to have explosives no matter what happens, so it's going to either be 2 Tri-Blasts or 2 Nades coming Springtron's way, and obviously if you think the Nades are bad enough, going up against 6 horizontal bolts that could explode if they at least touch you, it's never fun. EMP is going to go off, but Grimwood is onto it, immediately locks on and gets the punish, and already has Rush available to go, so does Iceman, but again, the health difference already between the two.
Yeah, this, as a Springman, this hurts my tiny little Springman heart here, because being a Springman or a Springtron up against a Coil with explosion arms is going to be a bad day for most players. And I mean, Grimwood has all, you know, as I said, he has all the right answers today, it almost feels like. And this is gonna be super tough. I'm looking at Iceman's screen here, and he's switching to the Chillas, and I'm expecting him to kind of, I guess his strategy here is he's trying to meet the arms like head on to kind of negate those explosions and like make them explode before they come too close to him. But that's a challenge in themselves with the angles that Coil can use.
Yeah, we always say that she has that superiority in the air because she's just able to just hover there for quite some time. So it's always a hard target to hit in and of itself, but if the Chillers can find a way through, they will rob Coil of the ability to do that temporarily, but the rush is gonna get cancelled once again!
Yeah, it feels like a almost impossible stage here, but I don't know how Iceman managed to pull that one off. Cancelling a rush against a Coil feels like an impossible feat, and he actually breaks the stage too, which is not too common in this matchup because of how they throw each other when they grab. But it happened here. You know, we've seen it now.
And the worst part is, at this point, it does not favor Iceman in the slightest, because it's like, oh, there's a trampoline, but Coil's not going to really care that there's a trampoline there, because she'll just hover over it anyway. He immediately goes for the wake-up rush and actually catches it, because Iceman thought about going for the same kind of counterplay, but gets completely dwarfed by the nade, and that is going to be the first point on the side of Grimwood.
Yeah, you're completely right. The longer that game was gonna be dragged out with that broken trampoline, it's gonna be way more in Grimwood's favor. And I think Iceman realized that and was like, oh crap, I need to go for a Hail Mary, and just went for the rush. And I mean, if you're Grimwood in that situation, you're probably gonna think that the only thing that could hit you is a rush from that angle. So he was already ahead of him, and now we're gonna go to a stage we haven't really seen today. I think we're gonna go to Scrapyard.
Yeah, we get to actually see both counter picks being used today. We've seen Via Dulce earlier, but now we're actually gonna have Scrapyard. I think that means the only stage we haven't seen today then has been Sparring Ring. Would you believe it? But to be fair, Ninjara are going to come out for Iceman. We got the purple loadout, and Popper and the windiest of slaps coming out. Meanwhile, Grimwood is going to drop the nade for the time being and come out with a non-elemental blow in the form of the buff.
I really understand Iceman's thought process here. He like, one of the, I guess, answers that people have kind of theorized is that the only thing that really can beat a Coil is a really good Ninjara. Well, it's super hard because you have to have your movement on point. Is one of those things, like, people have looked at how Ku has played against Chateau in the Japanese region and tried to kind of play in that regard as well, or, you know, Rifa here earlier today. And that's what Iceman believes to be the correct answer here. And what? Okay, that was weird. Like, I think that was the first time I've seen a Coil slide out of their own rush. Usually it's the other way around, where Coil manages to slip away, but not this time.
Yeah, it literally looked like she just like overcommitted on the move. So it was just like, well, there goes Ninjara, just gets a free pass on that one. Having said that, though, they haven't taken advantage of it properly yet. They're already down past halfway, and Grimwood is just continuing to have this kind of superiority where it's just like they're not gonna allow them to have anything, and has already got rushed back. That's how quickly, that's how aggressive Grimwood is playing.
Yeah, and just patient plays from Grimwood as well, besides the kind of height advantage for usually he's on that ledge there, and Iceman has a hard time fighting against it. Now, this is a really tough situation where you have to keep the pressure up against the coil, and Iceman is really trying to go for it, but it's gonna be very, very difficult for against a coil, and now he used his rush before the round is even over, and yeah, I don't see this going in Iceman's favor at all. Grimwood just gives away a grab there, but you know, he can do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's better to just take the grab rather than have Ninja get any kind of chain going, and I was just like, it's an interesting counter pick for Iceman to do, considering the fact that Coil already excels at being in the air. You've essentially just given Coil even more mobility, just like more free reign, especially with both pillars down. And the rush is going to catch Iceman again. Not as much damage this time around, but it's still a decent start.
I think I understood what Grimwood was trying to do there, and for the last round too, like to negate the teleportation of Ninjara, he was like committing with the slide against Ninjara, which is interesting. There it kind of, you know, it has its drawback that he didn't get the full damage, but at least Ninjara didn't teleport around and grab him or anything like that. But it does put him in a kind of awkward position right now when he's in a health disadvantage. Yeah, he builds rushes so quickly. This is insane. Like, what? He just used one.
It's because of the fact that Grimwood has the confidence to be able to throw out while still being on the move, because it's like if Iceman doesn't get the hit, they're just getting free charge even if they're missing. The rush is going to at least come out this time around. 335 hit puts Grimwood into critical. One more hit for Ninjara is all they need. But having said that, Grimwood is still being incredibly consistent with these hits, and the bolts are still catching Iceman off guard. But finally it comes through, and it is going to get a point on the board for our Ninja.
Yeah, and this is really a battle of the minds at this point, because now, I mean, Iceman has proved that he has the Ninjara skills, like potential to actually be able to battle this coil, and is one of the, you know, one of the things that people have theorized that this is the answer to how to beat coil, is a really good Ninjara. But again, we see the commitment in the rush. Grimwood just sliding on in to try to negate that teleportation, but you slide too far, man.
Coil needs to fix her own boosters here a little bit. Don't try and slow them down a little bit more. But the rush is still going to get a little bit of damage in. But Iceman is trying to use this to rally themselves into this. Pins Coil into the corner, but the shield is going to come up. It's going to be chip damage and nothing more than that. And another nade hit. And bearing in mind, Iceman is essentially just going up against 3 nades here. And that is going to be square on the nose. 330 and Iceman into critical.
Yeah, sometimes just playing dead like Grimwood did there, just out in the open, just standing still and waiting for the right time to use the rush is definitely the play. Grimwood has shown several times now that he's not afraid to being that patient and just kind of wait for the right opportune moment to use the rush. And I think that's what kind of differentiates him with other players. Oh, okay. See, he's trying to go for it again. He's just waiting. And he does it. What?
Yeah.
Like he's almost saying to Iceman, like, what are you gonna do? Are you just like gonna jump around? You don't have any curve arms. You have to face me or teleport around, and neither of those options is gonna give him the win. And it almost seemed like Iceman just had to forfeit the game right then and there.
Yeah, and as a result, we will now be moving on to Temple Grounds. It was just one of those things, was that every single time, like Grimwood, like even when Grimwood was taking damage from Iceman, it was just like, okay, I know what you're gonna now try and do. I don't mind just backing it up, and Iceman is decided, you know what? Screw this. Screw all of this. It's a Coil Ditto. We are in America now.
Oh, we're going to the North American region suddenly. Oh, this is, you know, when it push comes to shove in the top 3, then people are gonna be inclined to go for the top tiers, it seems. And now we have both of the coils out and about, and this is one of the, I guess, if you thought the Lola Pop Dittos was a weird thing to behold, then you're gonna be surprised here, because Coil Dittos is like, it's a like slip and slide. It's like trying to catch the other one out here is gonna be the toughest thing ever. And Yeah.
It's like if you thought watching two massive spheres bouncing all over the place was going to be hard to watch, now you're going to have to watch 6 arms doing battle instead of the usual 4, and 3 of those are roasters. We're going to have a chiller and the tri-bolt on Iceman's side of things, and whilst in theory the bolts would help since it does cover that little bit more space, so far it's not going Iceman's way. They did get the initial block for Grimwood's rush at the very least, but now starting to try and pin this down, gets the chill, but unfortunately Grimwood had the wherewithal to just get the shield up and block out the rest of the rush.
I think he will try to go for the kind of hit lag there on the chiller to go for the rush, but it was just a frame too late, I believe. And I think Grimwood, besides using the elevation like to his advantage, he's really kind of just punching through this tri-bolt that is not working in for Iceman at all.
Yeah, it really.
Yeah, I think Iceman definitely needs to switch out the tri-bolt here. But I think we see the experience in the 2 different coils here is that while this is one of the matchups you really maybe are not too excited to see sometimes, is that there is a lot of finicky stuff that you can do as a coil. Like especially one of the things that is hard to tell is how a coil elevates up and down. And if you look at these 2 players, then you're gonna see that way more from Grimwood because of the experience that he has with this character.
Now, ironically enough, you were like, oh, well, Iceman needs to get off this tripod. It's just not working out for them. Grimwood decides to do a power play and comes out with the Tri-Blast of their own and already has Iceman into critical condition. Another successful blast hit, and surely Grimwood is just a hit or a rush away from taking Iceman down in a 3-0 set. And they both start to do a little bit of a dance here as the roaster is not going to find it, but the Tri-Blast is going to hit. It connects, it deals the explosion, and, well, the Ditto goes in Grimwood's favour. It's another 3-0 set in the final, and Grimwood books their ticket into Grands.
I think, again, Grimwood has just done his homework. Grimwood is just way out there being kind of studying the game on a different level, and I do believe that the difference here was just the simple fight of elevation. Like, it's one of those things that you don't really think about with Coil because she's always elevated, so you can't really see her jumping in the same way as you can with other characters. But jumping or elevating with Coil is such a big part of her play, and it can make it's very kind of exhausting to use that playstyle as someone has tried it myself. But I think if you look at the different playstyles or movements from Iceman and Grimwood there, you know, Iceman was kind of on one playing field and trying to use the Tri-Bolt, and Grimwood was just punching through that. But when he switched to the Tri-Bolt, he was elevating and using that Tri-Blast above and under the medium arms of Iceman. So it really just was on a fundamental level that Grimwood knew what he was doing with that coil play.
And with that, Iceman is going to finish in 3rd place as a result. So no 13th win for them on this occasion. But that's okay. There's still plenty more cups to come. Now, next up is going to be the Grand Final. Now, Riffa booked their ticket into Grand Finals by beating Iceman earlier. Riffa did take out Grimwood in the semi-final as well by 2 points to 1, so we'll see if Grimwood is going to be able to turn this around. Remember that this is having a bracket reset potential since this is a double elimination tournament and Riffa has not lost a set yet. So crucially, Grimwood has to beat Riffa in 2 best-of-5 sets. And
I'm interested to see how Riffa will go on about this, because he has almost like an extra life of the bracket reset, right? But I really want to see how Riffa showcases how he deals with a coil like Grimwood's, because before he used his Ninjara and it just worked. Like, I couldn't really tell what he was doing better than Grimwood, but it just really worked in his favor. Now he's starting out with the Misango, and I think that this is his kind of way of like, okay, let's see if this Misango works against Coil. If I can do it, then everyone's gonna remember me, right? Like the apparent low tier against the highest tier of character in this game.
Yep, and Grimwood does get the initial part of the rush, and Riffa I mean, okay, like, the counter pushes to deny the rush is one thing, but it's been a while since I've seen anybody grab somebody out of a rush before, but there you go, Riffa always going for the style points, gets them, but Grimwood still coming in with all of that aggression, gets the shield up to block out Riffa's as well. Riffa already past the halfway mark, Grimwood with the health lead, and 3 roasters coming your way.
I think Grimwood again did the kind of committal when he went for the rush there. Like he's going for this, like trying to get close to them, almost like how Helix's does when they like jump into someone when they do the rush. And for Grimwood, it actually makes him like slip out of the rushes. But yeah, like, it gave Riffa a chance to get back into this game, and now they're almost equal health at the end of this round now.
Yeah, Riffa also getting rush up as well, both in critical condition with 10 seconds to go, but Coil gets the crucial grab. It puts Riffa on 1 HP. All Grimwood needs to do now is just not take damage. The rush will come out, and Riffa isn't going to land that either, and that will be Grimwood's point. As a result, advantage very much on Grimwood's side of the field.
Yeah, he had one last chance there and went for the hit instead of the grab, and either way, it just wasn't gonna do it. And now he has another trick up his sleeve to try to go for the Phoenix and Diffler. And again, as we were talking about, like catching out Kid Cobra's angles of like the movement with how the Lola Pop was playing earlier, Replicant and Grimwood. Riffa is going for this kind of Phoenix and Diffler to try to see if he can maybe catch out Grimwood's angles and movements here, but it's looking pretty tough right now.
Yeah, Grimwood managed to get 2 successful Chakram hits there as well, but couldn't capitalize on it. And the rush is going to come through for Riffa, 325 damage. Grimwood does have one of their own ready to go and punches clean on through Riffa, 315, and retakes that health lead.
The grab interaction there was kind of interesting. I think Riffa just tried to figure out like, maybe I can get some kind of desperation hit here when the rush went off, but wasn't able to get it. Sometimes you can get the Phoenix or Thunderbird to kind of go all the way around, but it wasn't able to. Now he's blinding Grimwood here. Usually that doesn't have that great of an effect. It's more about mental damage than actually blinding someone, because you can hear most of the things. But Riffa, okay, now he has... Oh, that was so good! Grimwood went for the rush before Riffa had it up, because he could have used the rush on the yellow mask to negate that. He never gave him the chance. He just stopped it right then and there.
Yeah, it was like Grimwood realized that Riffa was literally about to have it and just committed right there and then, getting through the entirety of that attack. And Grimwood will start off their long journey by taking the first point in this best of 5 set, and it looks like we're going straight back into Mausoleum. So Riffa not happy with how that match went, feel like they can do better on this stage, and we go back to our wonderful haunted place.
This could actually be like Riffa just bashing his head against a wall to try to figure out how to deal with this coil, because it's not just about this tournament. If you look at it from the bigger picture, it's like the entire community is trying to figure out, can we find a way to counter coil, right? Like coil has been seen in the top levels of all tournaments in all across the globe, and people are like desperately trying to find an answer to this. And it's almost like a scientist, right? If you're the one who figures it out, then you're gonna be remembered in the community forever. And so Riffa just kind of gentleman's back into Mausoleum and goes now with the Chilla and Phoenix, but is still having a bit of an issue here.
Just a little bit, 255 damage from that rush. 2 more rushes pinging off the shield, and the ram is still curving its way through, so Riffa's got a lot to focus on as another grab comes out, sends Riffa into critical. They've got a rush built up, but again, the health lead from Grimwood. Riffa has to do so much more to get themselves back into this fight. Another grab is going to put Riffa being a punch away from going down on the early goings. The ram is going to come round, and once again, it's another quick point for Coil.
I think it's like with other characters it's so obvious. Like with Min, you have to be really kind of pressuring them and making sure that they don't get a dragon arm. And in Jar you can't really be too close, because then you're gonna just like be teleported around. With Coil it's so difficult because you can't be too close, you can't be too far away, you can't be like too passive. So it's like, what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do? And Riffa is like trying to find his balance in all of these cases, but like every time he has one misstep, Grimwood just like pounces on that and gets a lot of damage in.
He certainly does, and another chiller hit finally does rob Coil of her abilities and gets a grab off of it as well. So puts Riffa right back into contention now, and obviously the Biffa coming out, it's still a very handy tool to have since that verticality does try to hinder Coil a little bit more. But so far not being as consistent as they'd like to be. Grab, unfortunately, just a little too low. The arm's going to go down, and that is going to be a free rush for Coil. Thank you very much.
Such a perfect patient play from Grimwood. Saw that he couldn't really get anything out from that when Riffa had the yellow mask on, but saw that it was passive as well. So he was just going for those arm hits, catches one of the arms off and just goes straight for the rush. Oh, and even he's blind, he's going to negate most of that rush. 110, but he's going to be happy with that.
I mean, 2 Biffler chains in a row. It does actually tip it into Riffa's favor, but Grimwood with 13 seconds left will likely have rush going into the last 10 seconds here, and there it is. So will Grimwood decide to try and go for this? Riffa is baiting out. Oh, they're going to get grabbed. They're being just a little too cheeky, and Grimwood knows they have this match won. Negates the grab, and that is going to be that. Grimwood has a 2-point lead. Riffa tried to go for the showboating tactic, and it absolutely didn't work.
Man, I think it's hard. I know that Riffa is one of the, as I mentioned, like all throughout this tournament, the Riffa is one of the players with the strongest mentality in ARMS, I think. But it almost looks like he broke there for a second when he lost that last interaction. He has one more shot, and it's almost like he's using this losers bracket run from Grimwood in a way for him to just like figure out this puzzle that the entire ARMS community is trying to figure out. It's his last chance though for this, before this reset might happen, and this time it's the chill and Megawatt. Yeah,
Megawatt gonna try and come in with that big beefy goodness, and actually gets the chill on the Coil, but immediately snaps back with a charged up roaster. And that's just how consistent Grimwood is. Every single time they take a little bit of a hit, they know where Riffa's going to go next and just immediately place themselves in the right position. Yellow Mask is going to come out, and that rush is going to be ready for Riffa to deploy. And again, another chiller hit, so they're getting a little bit more consistent. But again, they're still getting caught by the ram as it just curves its way on through. And again, another chiller hit just robs Coil of the ability, drops it back down onto the floor.
Yeah, I mean, Grimwood's movement here is actually super clean. I've been looking at his movement now for the past 30 seconds. It's just like very like meticulous. He's almost barely getting hit for every hit. Sometimes he does get clipped, but it's almost looking flawless. And now we do have the interaction. Very smart from Grimwood to not go for it, since he knows about the yellow mask. Now he finally gets it off, and now they can return to neutral.
Yeah, but another chill hit, just about avoiding the Megawatt at the last second. Takes the hit, gets the grab through it as well. 20 seconds left on the clock, and a roaster hit. Riffa tried to go for the commitment, and Grimwood knew he was going to go for it. Already having the advantage, the ramp just about missing on this occasion. 10 seconds left on the clock. Riffa needs big time grabs, and he's not going to find them. Grimwood is on reset point.
All answers are correct once again for Grimwood in this case. He was parrying through that to get a grab, knowing that the Megawatt is like too slow to do anything there in that situation. And now he's just... And that was actually the first time we saw Grimwood be a bit impatient, so you know he has to really be careful there, because if there's anything that's gonna allow Riffa to come back into this is if Grimwood is starting to get impatient. It's basically his Grimwood's patience is basically what is giving him the upper hand here, and he has to keep that going.
And even though they missed the grab, they just about got away from most of that rush. It did get a little bit towards the end there, but Grimwood very fortunate they were able to slide away from that one. But the 1-2 punch is starting to turn things into Riffa's favor. Slowly but surely, they're finding cracks through Grimwood's defense, and that impatience is starting to get the better of him, so he needs to calm this down. Another hit from the chiller, gonna keep Grimwood at bay, and the rush is once again not going to connect.
Yeah, now the impatience has really gotten on to Grimwood for this round, and that's gonna be the first round, I think, of him taking. I mean, it's a heavy task now for Riffa to climb all the way back and negate, or like, I guess cancel this loser bracket run from Grimwood, but you know, Grim has to really kind of take a step back now and just realize that this patience is what got him here in the first place, and that's what he needs to do in case in turn to get this.
Yeah, the Watt is actually starting to choke Grimwood a little bit more as a result of it. So it's really the case of just trying to turn that momentum back onto their side. The invisibility going to give them a little chance. And again, Riffa not reading which way they were going to go there. Does have Rush ready to go. Grimwood not going to be too far behind. But obviously that yellow mask it's always so scary when you're in this kind of position where the rushes can and will come out. And just the pair just dancing here, not really getting the consistent hits in. No sooner have I said that, Grimwood finally gets through, and so does the Megawatt.
I think Riffa is starting to figure this out now. Like, he has the extra life of having that yellow mask on, and he was just trying to survive with it on there. Like, any stray hit he could have gotten on Grimwood was like a small win for him. And I think that's the way he has to play to make this Masango work. But as soon as Grimwood is getting that pressure on, it's gonna be almost impossible for him to get back onto it. I think now, as soon as he gets this rush again, Riffa, he's just gonna want to switch back to the yellow mask. I think he's waiting for the rotation here, and when he has it, that could be his one chance to kind of get into this.
But it's not gonna happen, or is it? No, it's not gonna happen. The rush is gonna come out, but it doesn't KO. But with 10 seconds to go, Grimwood has such a health lead, there's no way Riffa is turning this around. So buckle up, my friends, strap yourselves in and get your popcorn ready. We are going to a reset bracket.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's always the risk when you play in this kind of passive way. I've seen it in other kind of matchups as well, when you see maybe like juniors playstyle with the Guardian, is that if you're the one who sets the pace for the game, you're gonna be at a heavy risk if you're in the health disadvantage. And unfortunately, Grimwood was able to ship Riffa down there, so he got into that health disadvantage. But you know, by God, like this is I really want to see someone figure out coil. I really do. I'm gonna say I'm biased here. I want to see that kind of to further the meta of arms. But right now it felt like whenever Riffa was at an advantage, I felt that was a Riffa as a player, not Misango as a character, to be honest. He, like, it's still not right there yet, but I think that Riffa might actually... People were saying in the chat that they're expecting a Ninjar to come out here, but he has a couple of games more to use Misango before it actually puts the heat on him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit more Misango, or maybe even another character, like maybe a Helix. I know that Riffa has a pocket Helix that I haven't seen in a while, for example.
That would be an interesting one to go out with, especially against a character like Coil, but we'll see what Riffa decides to throw in. But I do feel like the Ninjara will probably come out at some point. Like, Riffa's not going to want to allow Grimwood to run away too much with this set, so no. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes, you know what, no, we're just going to slow this down right now, Ninjara from the get-go, and it will definitely keep Grimwood on his toes. But you also feel like he's probably expecting the Ninjara to come sooner rather than later. But it is going to be an amazing best of 5 coming up. And remember that it's not just a win that's coming up. Riffa wants to tie for the most wins in this cup. I think Yada has it with 13, so Riffa winning this would join him onto Yada's level with 13. Grimwood would be winning this for only his 5th time, would you believe it, if it goes round. So there's still plenty to play for here. Yeah,
I think Grimwood he's been really on top of his game the last season, but the last few months he's really gotten into the groove of being like a consistent player, like really figuring out everyone else in Europe. And I mean, all in all, like I when I see these types of games, I really I want to see the meta of arms continue to develop, and it would make me really sad if it has a similar end to Smash 4 of like Bayonetta or Coil. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I have to admit I have a slight bias to try to see what that answer to Coil is. I mean, we're really putting that theory to the test here of having Riffa, who has been, you know, one of the most consistent players in Europe, going up against Grimwood, who hasn't been consistent until now. And here we see it again in the bracket reset of this grand finals. We have another Misango coming out from Rifa here. Can he find the answer?
He is determined to get a win, not just with Misango, but on Mausoleum. Like, we've had three straight defeats here with Misango. So let's see if the fourth time is the charm this time round. But immediately that punch is going to find its way of slipping on through. And nice that Grimwood is going to drop the ram this time, actually coming out with the tri-bolt. So just when you think you've got the playstyle all figured out, suddenly you got 3 bolt and not a curved tool. And this is shutting Misango down before they've even had a chance to get involved. Riffa is on the cusp of getting perfected yet again in this competition. 1 HP. Grimwood's just looking for one final hit. Can Riffa at least stop this from going through? The bolt just about missing on the left-hand side. No, there's a bit of chip damage, so it won't be a perfect. It'll be a near perfect, and Grimwood will be a little annoyed with that.
Yeah, as you said before, Rifa doesn't like to get perfected, and now he's like the anger machine is turned up again. He unfortunately a bit too late, but at least he's just gonna get perfected. Yeah. I think we're like playing on Mausoleum a lot because I think, at least from a European region's perspective, it just seems like one of the more neutral stages because there aren't a lot of characters that use kind of the downward angle grab. Like when you smash someone into the ground, it's Kid Cobra and Master Mummy, which aren't like too commonly used in this region. So we never really see trampoline unless it's like by mistake or coincidence. So I think that they are kind of like trying to figure out, okay, this is the most the stage with as little bullshit as possible and trying to just play it out. But now again we see Grimwood up more than half health than Rifa, and it's looking really tough.
It really is. It's like Rifa didn't get the initial part of their rush. Grimwood got at least a little bit of theirs, but look at this. Rifa already on 1 punch away. Grab gonna be denied on this occasion. On weak on the right hand side as well. Grimwood could go for a spicy rush grab, and there it is. There it is. Realized the arm was weak, commits to the rush. If they blocked it, the arm would have been destroyed anyway. Rifa dropping down, and Grimwood is going to lead this reset. It's 4 points in a row now for Grimwood. This is not looking good for Rifa.
At this point, it feels like two stubborn minds clashing. I mean, Grimwood has set this determination of becoming the best in Europe. I think it's pretty evident of his work ethic. But meanwhile, Rifa is like, he was trying his best to kind of figure it out, but now finally he's switching back to Ninjara, and this could be the thing to turn the tide against Grimwood.
Well, we'll soon find out. It'll be Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon going up against the Chiller and the Roaster, and immediately started off with a grab that connect. Well, that's just Rifa in a nutshell for you, my friends.
Yeah, sending a message right there and then. It's just like, oh, okay, you want to see how a perfect looks like? Like, he's well on path right now. He's just kind of calling out most of Grimwood's movements, if not all. He finally gets clipped, but, I mean, Rifa, as confident as ever in his, tried and true Ninjara. This is, it almost looks like we're in a different match right now. Like, what were we watching up until this point?
It was like a Dragon Ball Z episode where it's like, all right, I'm gonna take my weights off now, and now I'm gonna come at you with all of my force. Rifa has a massive health lead going in to the latter part of this match already. Grimwood on the cusp of critical, and the Ice Dragon not being shut down anywhere near as much as it really should be. Grimwood is starting to finally chain in these punches, but Rifa can still get a get out of jail free with that rush, but already past the halfway mark, and suddenly this momentum has shifted to Coral's favor. Yeah,
this is again, I'm trying to understand what is actually making it work for Rifa, but like, he just has such a clean game plan when he goes into his games as Ninjara. Finally, Grimwood is managed to disrupt that a bit. Wow, okay, that was not expected. Now he's actually on point here, and this could, maybe this is too late. I'm starting to question myself here. Like, yeah.
This would be a turnaround and a half. 3 seconds left on the clock. Rifa needs to hit something, and he's not going to. Grimwood managed to turn that completely on its head. Rifa started off so dominantly, and Grimwood still gets the point.
This could be you know, a little too late in this case. I mean, Rifa, you know, it is actually really difficult to switch between characters in a tournament. I mean, the only time I've been able to take a round of Rifa in previous tournaments is when he's been switching around characters. I'm not saying that that's going to be what brings him down, but for a normal player, that's actually something really tough to kind of find these timings. Even though Ninjara is, you know, probably implanted in the back of his mind, going from Misango to Ninjara like this could be jarring for most people.
Yeah, it might be a bit a shift too many as Rifa drops down into the halfway mark. Once again, the Bolt are just finding their way through. The Dragon finally does cut Coil back, just pops them onto the floor for a little while, and Rush is ready for Rifa if they get themselves into an ideal position to turn this back away. To be fair, both are on level health here. Dragon not going to quite find its mark as Grimwood continues to just skate on up to the high ground. But finally, the Tri-Bolts of Rifa catching Grimwood off guard, and they're just looking for one more punch. And the arm is weak on the right-hand side, so they could surely go for the pressure, and the Dragon finds its mark. And finally, Rifa gets themselves back into this.
You have to be so careful when you go up against Rifa's Ninjara, because you can't really play passively against him, because he's really good at sniping off those arms and like damaging them before like going in for the kill. And right now, like he's just kind of sniping away with that Ice Dragon. Like the Tri-Blast is there as a threat, yes, but the Ice Dragon is just like kind of keeping Grimwood in check. Like he can't really go for that like elevation or anything like that, because the Ice Dragon is always there to keeping at bay.
Yeah, it's like you've seen a lot of how Grimwood has been playing so far, where they've been able to just poke away from range and no one's been able to really do anything about it. The Dragon now is able to do something about it. The Rush only just catching Rifa at the tail end of it, so Rifa managed to avoid most of it. And again, the Dragon, not once but twice, catches Grimwood, sends them back onto the floor on the cusp of critical, make that into critical, and suddenly this set is turning into Rifa's favor. They do have Rush available, and you just know they would absolutely love to just shove that right into Grim's face and equalize this set one apiece. 40 seconds left on the clock. Grimwood continues to make a nuisance of himself, finally pips Rifa into halfway and goes in with the Rush and catches Rifa. Surely not again. Surely not another comeback from Grimwood in the latter stages of this. Bolts are going to get rejected. Oh, I thought that was going to be it, but no. Somehow the shield came up in the nick of time. The Dragon will KO as long as it can hit. 13 seconds are left on the clock. The Bolts are going to hit. They are both a punch away from going down. Do not double KO each other, people. That's the last thing you all need. I think Grimwood might just about have it. I think they have enough health. The chip damage is coming up. It's a draw! It's a draw! I cannot believe it! We are going to have a bonus point in the grand final reset. What in the world?
Oh my god, my heart, this is so insane. Like, they're really peaking right here with both of the gameplay. I think like Grimwood was finally figuring out how to get around this Ice Dragon. It wasn't a double KO, but it was a draw. And this is such an important round for both of them, because if Grimwood takes this, he's gonna put Rifa in such a disadvantage that he can just end this grand final right in the next game. But Rifa really wants to bring this back to kind of have a sense of security or anything going into the, like, later stages of this this set. Now it's just looking like a complete slugfest. I mean, Grimwood, you really have to be careful. It's almost like a labyrinth going between these arm punches of Rifa, and now again the test score is correct, and Grimwood just finally gets a complete clean rush there.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be needing just a bit more to end this.
Yeah, 2 rushes out of 2 that hit for Grimwood. Rifa finally has one of their own, so they can try and go for a second bite at the cherry. Grimwood has the health lead, and the Bolt is going to send Rifa into critical condition. 30 seconds on the clock. Grimwood on the cusp of being in KO range. Make that they are in KO range, and Rifa is playing super aggressive here, but they need to be careful. Rosa is going to pick them up again. Rush is ready, but Grimwood now has theirs as well. So we've known Grimwood is incredibly consistent with their rushes, and they are going to come out with it. Double chuck, but it's going to be Grimwood who gets the better of it. They had the superiority. They got into the poke, and with that, Grimwood takes an amazing point.
I'm honestly sweating here, though. Just watching this unfold on my screen, it's insane. I think Grimwood just finally found that patience to kind of be able to navigate through the arms of Rifa, because it really is like a freaking labyrinth going through that sniping of the Ice Dragon and the Triblast. And okay, that was a new color palette on Ninjara. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, if there's a new color palette with Rifa's Ninjara, that means it's going to be a different loadout. The Lockjaw is coming out alongside the Popper. Grimwood, thinking about what they want to come out with here, they're going to come out with Roaster and Tribolt in this very crucial point here, where Rifa has to reverse sweep to keep their chances at winning a 13th cup alive. And Grimwood gets an immediate stun with the Tribolt and sets off things on their side for the time being.
If this was any other region, I would be shaking my head right now. But in this case, it's one of those things like maybe Grimwood has pushed Rifa so far that he's created a monster that he can't stop. And like I can see this being like maybe the energy that Rifa needs to just kind of, if he can just cleanly get a match here from Grimwood, I think that's what he needs. Not just in the set, but just like confidence-wise and mentally. This is really interesting, like how he's kind of utilizing this, because as we all know that Rifa is just the game master plan here in ARMS. Maybe he has like found a new way to use that with other arms. By the looks of it, it has. I
mean, to be fair, the Popper is a quick firing lightweight arm, and obviously the Lockjaw goes in with the projectile and then follows in with the rest of the jaw, and I think it has caught Grimwood by surprise. They're not coping with it as well as they have been, and suddenly, Rifa has control of this, and we're going to see where this goes here. Grimwood going to commit to triple Roaster, essentially. It's nothing but gloves.
I think I would really... And this is the weird thing now, because Rifa was the one losing. He can just switch out character and arms as he wants to, like without any warnings. And I think Grimwood right now is in a disadvantage where he doesn't really have anything to counteract this. I would really love to see like maybe a boomerang on Grimwood here to negate either the Popper or the Lockjaw. Nothing like hitting this head on with a triple Roaster. It's not going to be the answer, I think. And this might just be like we were talking about playing chess in ARMS, and I feel like Rifa is heading on a checkmate, at least for this game. At this point.
Yeah, but still early days. I mean, Grimwood, both of them not hitting anything with their respective rushes. The projectile from the Lockjaw just cancelling Grimwood's at the last possible second. So, but Grimwood is still coming in with a whole lot of tenacity, just throwing gloves left, right, and center. And obviously, since they're all unguided, it's a lot more difficult for Rifa to dodge. Does finally take 110 from the tail end of that rush, but again manages to avoid most of it for the time being. But again, they cannot afford to allow these rushes to come through unchecked. They do have a rush on the pocket, and they are slowing Coil down quite nicely, so you feel like it's only a matter of time before Rifa finally takes a point in the set.
Yeah, it feels like Grimwood's strategy here now gets a nice grab, but it's been just a barrage of punches, like trying to just hold Rifa at bay, and I don't know if that's like the smartest play. And I mean, now he just gets it. He doesn't even finish the rush. It doesn't feel like maybe there was a risk that he wouldn't be able to hit that cleanly, and that just gives him a game. And I mean, once again, I'm impressed of the caliber of these players, because they're not stubborn. They're actually there's a lot of thought processes happening behind the scenes, I would think, even though maybe they say that it's not in Discord here, but I like this. It's really impressive to me to see how they switch it up in this way. And to be honest, I don't see this happening in other fighting games in the same level as we do in ARMS. So it's awesome stuff here.
Yep, and we are going to see Rifa. Now, Rifa is going to stick with Ninja, but it's a different color loadout, which probably means different arms. And yep, the Ice Dragon is going to come right back on. I wonder if Rifa was banking on Grimwood switching up the arms a little bit. But honestly, he really hasn't. He's bringing in a Popper alongside the Roaster. But that's about it. Like, he hasn't really switched up much. And Rifa isn't going to come in with the Dragon either. He's going to come in with the Triblast and our windiest of slaps, our good friend. And the Triblast is going to start us off in Rifa's favor. And it almost seems like that last point really has awakened something in Rifa here.
Yeah, I think one thing that that you might like forget in these type of situations too. I mentioned it before with the coil, but the same could be said with Ice Dragon. Is like having these like very high execution level or like precise setups. It's exhausting for a player, and even though it looked so clean with Rifa sniping Grimwood out with the Ice Dragon before, it could also be one of those things that is just like super exhausting to actually play out. So I think. Just kind of switching it up and see how this Slappermander works now in this case. Like if he gets this round, I think he's just gonna go through with it for the rest of this game here.
We'll soon find out. Grimwood already past the halfway mark, and actually these blasts are really keeping Grimwood at bay, finally getting a couple of hits with the popper, but the slap finds its way around and just taps Coil's booty just a little bit too much. And now 1 HP left on Grimwood. All Riffer is looking for is just one more tap from anything will do. But once again, Coil being very hard to hit finally does land the blow that they need. And Riffer is very, very close to tying up this set.
I think Grimwood really was just like trying to fish for that win confirm to get a rush on to be able to have an ounce of a chance in that round, but wasn't able. I think Riffo saw through that and just wasn't able to get it. Now he does switch to the chakram here, which I think it could be a good play. Swiping away those tri-blasts could be, I think, the answer here that he needs.
Yeah, and obviously the Chakram will try and balance out the slap as well. So far it is even Stevens at the moment, going with the slightest bit of health lead. Neither player really wants to go for the rush just yet, but both do have a chance to do win confirms with their respective rushes. So we'll soon see if either of them decide to bite for that kind of thing. Shield once again just coming out prolonged from Grimwood, and again another slap is gonna keep Coil on the ground. And Riffer is doing so well with the reads here. Rush is finally going to come out. Grimwood saying, screw this, I'm just going to go for it right here and now. 315 puts Riffer on roughly the same health, but Riffer does have the advantage here. They know they can KO if the rush hits.
Yeah, and now he's also, like, if he confirms right here, he has the round in the game. So Grimwood has to really show that patience that he has had throughout these sets today if he's going to be able to take this tournament. It's all up to him now if he can do that, and right now it looks like it might just be it to make it. Yeah, and he does, and this puts him on to set point as well. Like if he just needs one more round, and this choice of arms could be everything. Yeah. Okay, they're sticking with it. Yeah,
crucially then, it is championship point for Grimwood as we come into this final match. Riffer didn't want to utilize their rush, didn't think they had a chance to do so. The double commitment did punish them in the end. It was just unfortunate the way it went. And Grimwood will start the slightly stronger here with the popper and the chakram combination. And Riffer just seems to be a little bit afraid to go for this rush at this point in time. Like, they're able to land their hits in, but they just can't seem to get to it in a spot where they want to utilize that rush. The slaps are at least keeping Grimwood at bay, but they can't afford to allow Grimwood to still hit on through with the chakrams.
Yeah, this could potentially be the last round right now, and we're seeing both of them playing a bit more passively. Oh, and Grimwood finally goes for the rush confirm, but he's not there. He gets some measly 30 HP out of that, and that's not what he wanted in this deciding round, potentially.
I mean, to be fair, we have seen Grimwood charge the rush back up pretty quickly, but they can't afford to let Riffer get the better of that whilst all of that was happening. Ironically enough, I think the trampoline is like a hit away from being brought out as well, so Riffer playing a little dangerously here, knowing full well that it would give Grimwood a little bit extra advantage, and like I said, Grimwood is going to have rush available and shielded out as well. This is not looking good. Now, Grimwood is in critical. Riffer is looking for a hit or a grab, but it's not going to happen. The rush is going to come out. It's 285 damage. Both are a hit away. 10 seconds on the clock. Grimwood has health lead crucially. Or do they? Now they don't. Popper just about misses. I think this is Riffer still lose. They hit it. They hit it. We're going to match 5, my friends.
Oh my god. Grimwood is going to beat himself up against that final decision there. Oh my god, that was intense as hell. That was so close at ending right there and then, and Riffa just stoic as ever. He manages to clutch that one out. what the hell? I was looking at Grimwood's rush meter, and it was just charging like crazy. Like I think he built a rush in like sub 20 seconds in that round, and that's like the power and danger of Coil. And Rifa, he saw that, and he was able to survive that anyways.
And well, this is it, match number 5. Grimwood's done all of the hard work, but Rifa could still take it away from them right at the very end. It's going to be Tri-Blast Ice Dragon going up against Tri-Bolt Roaster, and so far, it's all Grimwood at the early stages. The self-destruct not helping Rifa at all.
Yeah, this is looking really like kind of Grimwood just slugging it out here. I think they've kind of found their groove with the different setups, and if I've understood it correctly now, that Grimwood realizes that he really has to pile on the pressure in not too much, but at least a lot of pressure, so the Ice Dragon doesn't get that space that Rifa wants to. Okay, as I say that, he just gets grabs out of the air.
Long range grabs are dangerous, but hey, if you catch them, it's really cool to have that land. Rifa past halfway mark, Grimwood just about staying above it for the time being, and actually getting successful reads with the dragon. Finally does get poked down, and the Tri-Blast follows up for a nice little 1-2-3 explosion. Both with Rush available, just taking their sweet time here, but Rifa is turning this momentum around and pops Grimwood into critical. And Grimwood's trying to play a little too aggressively, I feel like, just consistently going up to the Ninjara, and Ninjara is going to fly away from that as well. 95 damage, but they've got Rush available, and they're on the cusp of critical, whereas Grimwood is just a grab away from going down.
It's really coming down to it right now. 10 seconds left, and this is one that, if there's any important rounds, it's going to be this one. Grimwood just needs one more hit to kind of bring it back. Oh, he can! Oh, he goes for the grab to get the damage, but he can't get it. The Rush kind of knocks that grab away in the last split second. I understand the decision. Like, he really wanted to get that grab, because if he did, he would have won that round. Totally understand it.
I also feel like the Roaster Punch might have done enough, so it's very hard to judge sometimes, but it does mean that it is championship point for Rifa after all of that, and Grimwood does start with the Rush available, so I guess it's a question of, will Grimwood go for the early rush if they can find it, but they keep playing too aggressively. They keep being caught out by the Tri-Blast of Rifa, who is not allowing Grimwood to get into this match in the slightest, and Rush will finally come out and deals the damage they were looking for.
That's the second time Grimwood has decided to kind of negate the Tri-Blast with a rush, and I'm liking it because the retraction rate is slow enough that Rifa can't really handle. It doesn't give a full rush damage, but it's enough to kind of give the damage he needs. And this is the first time we've seen the trampoline in a long time.
And this might give Grimwood all the advantage they need, because it's not going to really hinder them as much as it will Rifa. I mean, Ninjara still does get a little bit of excel from that, but Coil is just going to love the fact that trampoline is out. Rifa is a point away from going down here, but they're keeping Grimwood on their toes. The explosion will finally cause the self-destruct as the bolts fly on through. It all comes down to this.
And this is so important for Grimwood. Grimwood really, and he knows it, he needs to use this trampoline in his favor. I think he was realizing it the previous round now, and it was maybe getting into his head, because now, as long as he can get a health lead now, this is a bit weird, because Coil really likes long distance kind of fights, but Rifa's Ice Dragon does that too. So it's like, who best enjoys this is gonna be the one. Like, if either of these gets like a bit of a health advantage, it's going to be the deciding factor. You can just play passively and end the game right there and then.
It certainly is going to be that way, and the Chakram does manage to find its way through. So does the Ice Dragon, and Grimwood gets caught by 2 of those. Rush will come out, but the shield is going to negate anything else from that. Slight bit of damage at the tail end. Grimwood has lost that health lead. Arm goes down, but somehow Rifa cannot take advantage of that. Great defender from Grimwood.
So clutch plays from both of these guys right now. Oh, he gets it. It gets this. This is such an important rush. It doesn't give him a lot of a health lead, but it gives him enough. If he can just play passively right now, then this could be tournament. we're really looking at the final decisions here between these two players.
Another dragon catches Grimwood by surprise, and Riffa does have Rush ready to go, but the Tribolt, not one, but two of them finally find a way of poking on through. Riffa on the cusp of critical, now make that into critical. One more hit is all Grimwood is looking for, but they are also on a little bit of a nervy state of their own. 13 seconds on the clock. Both with a Rush ready to go. The grab not going to hit on this occasion. Grimwood knows they just need to play this out. Rush will come out. Not going to hit. So does the Rush. The dragon hits. Who has lead? Who has lead here? I don't think it's a... It goes to Coil! Oh my god, it goes to Coil after all of that! I thought another draw was coming, but the game says not this time. Grimwood somehow wins for the 5th time. What a set!
What a set and what a tournament. Grimwood is able to clutch that out in the most intense way I've seen in an arms tournament in such a long time. Holy crap, that was insane. Oh my god, well played to both of these players and everyone that turned up for this tournament, but holy crap, if you ever wondered how peak arms looks like, here you have it. You just go back to this VoD, look through this game again, because we saw the battle of the minds here, and I think this is one of the things that will cement Grimwood as one of the top players, because he can show that he can compete with Riffa. He can really do it at this level now, and he took it while it was clutch. He's proven himself. You know, this is really good for him.
And not only that, not only has he been able to prove that on this occasion, the fact that he had to go up against an ever-adapting Riffa. They beat Riffa 3-0 in the first set, pretty much a straight given. And just for Riffa to then not only come back and just be like, okay, I'm still going to try the Masango in the first point, but then switch Ninjara and then started to pull it back, and it went the distance. I mean, we had a draw in there as well. It was just, the set had literally everything, and somehow, by the skin of his teeth, Grimwood gets away with that. That must have been a millimeter, if anything, on that health bar.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess this goes to show that at least in the European region, we haven't really got... I mean, Grimwood is really showing his prowess as Coil here, but we haven't really gotten to that point where Coil is just like dominating anything or everything yet. And I think we're still at an interesting place in the meta where Riffa really went up against Grimwood here, and I can't wait to see how the meta continues to progress from here, because it's not done yet. It's not done yet. And I mean, congratulations first of all to Grimwood, but also to Riffa for pulling through that entire set. That was insane.
It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, our top 3 finish officially is going to read like this. Grimwood wins his 5th ever Challenge Cup, beating Riffa in a bracket reset that practically had everything. Riffa will have to settle for second best on this occasion. Their wait for a 13th victory continues, and the same can be said of Iceman, who lost in the Underground final against Grimwood 3-0. Ironically enough, those first 2 sets were 3-0 clean, and then the final actual reset happened. And obviously a shout out to the Replicant as well, who finishes in 4th, not making it into top 3 on this occasion, but still 4th is still nothing to sniff at. And with that being said, we are approaching the end of the Challenge Cup broadcast. Have you had fun, Defer?
Yeah, I was not thinking that this was gonna get this energy intense here. Like I haven't casted these bi-weekly tournaments in a while, but Jesus Christ, like the guys are really they're really pushing themselves hard for these tournaments, and I really have respect for them, because you know, sometimes I like to enter these tournaments, but seeing this from the a bird's eye view, I understand why I can't really compete with these guys, because they're really giving it their all, and they're really still getting the peak place into arms. So big props to everyone who turned up for the tournament today and everyone who tuned in, and thanks for having me once again on this cast.
It's no trouble at all, and thank you so much for coming in. And obviously, like you said, massive shout outs to everybody who came by, especially in the chat. There was so much hype going in the chat. It's always nice to see, and obviously a massive big shout out to our tournament organizers for being able to put this on as often as they do. So our outro is now beginning. Defer, where can people find you if they are interested in your content?
You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, and it's just Defur, D-E-F-U-R. I stream sporadically, and now I'm gonna get more into casting, so if you want to see that, then head right on over. Thank you.
No worries, thank you very much. And for me, if you want to see what I do, there's Tamashi Kancho pretty much on every social media. There'll be a big 12-hour event that I'll be running on Wednesday, which will be a lot of fun. But I'm not going to plug myself too much, because what I am going to plug is where you can find the rest of the shenanigans for what we run here. So you've got our Twitter, which is at European_arms, the YouTube channel, EU Arms Competitive, obviously here on Twitch at EU_arms. And if you would like to join the Discord, not just for general chit chat and banter, but also for tips, advice, and maybe take a part in future Challenge Cups along the way, the Discord should be in the description below. With that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Defer, for providing good commentary with me today. I have been Tamashi Kancho, and this is the end of the 55th Challenge Cup. Thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves, and stay fresh.